welcome everybody. We are live on YouTube and Twitch. How is everybody doing? Hope everybody's doing well. We got three of my awesome friends here, and welcome chat if you wherever you're watching at.
Awesome. No, I'm super awesome.
How's it going?
Or super duper awesome there.
Yeah, but I perceive that, like 10 times more by super great.
Yo, man, you best be.
Hungry Wolves, how you doing? Almighty Malachi, hello.
You better chill, man. You know what I'm saying?
Hope everybody's doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Hanging out.
Anybody make anything interesting lately?
Well, I got part of my alien glued back together that fell and broke last week, or it broke 2 weeks ago, I guess. I procrastinated, but I finally got the part of it glued back together.
Yeah, I've been 3D printing stuff for the grandkids.
Yeah, I don't have any of those.
The Lucas just got put onto the a #1 team for soccer, so I 3D printed him a FIFA trophy. He loves it.
Very cool.
Yeah, I've been doing really not too much. I different model designs, etc. But that's where I basically am right now. So for people, I basically did it.
And all I did was Thursday morning go to the ER room. No big deal. Just went to the ER. That's all.
Oh, geez. What happened?
Shoulder blade pain.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, where it hurt to get out of bed.
Yeah, I had a couple cortisone shots years ago in construction. The crane was landing some really big walls, tower crane, and it was windy, and I was hanging on the tag line to set the wall down, and I had it wrapped around my hand one loop so I could let go if I needed to, and the wind caught it, almost ripped my arm out of the shoulder, so I had to get a couple cortisone shots back in the day.
Yeah, I ripped my muscles a few years ago lifting up something that was pretty heavy, and I guess age, just and ripped the damn muscle out, and
yeah.
But no surgery. All they did, they said, well, the doctor said it'll most likely heal on its own, but he just gave me some exercises to do, like
wax
on, wax off, yeah, and just keep doing that, but in an upright like that, high, is what they tell you to do.
Yeah, to keep your rotator cuff going.
So that's what I did, and I don't lift anything heavy anymore.
You have people do it for you.
Yep, exactly. I have them do it because.
Hey, Dreamzoid.
Hello. Does that include your bamboo? Those are heavy.
That's not that heavy.
Just got a delivery from Amazon in the mail. I have two Jimitsu SaneSmart CNCs in the garage, and they came out with wireless controllers. They're about $35 a piece. I didn't have to pay for these. I'm going to review them, do a video. So now when I get these hooked up, I can take my iPad, my tablet that Sergio bought for me like a year and a half ago, or my cell phone, and I can easily control my CNC. Because right now I got like a 25-foot cord. It goes from a PC through the garage, plugs into the CNC. When I run a UGS, Universal G-Code Sender Candle to run the program. And if the computer should shut down or something happens, then I'm going to lose my job. But it'll be really nice having this right here, hooking this up. So, hello, Derek. Del Los Logos 3D Printing over in the UK. How you doing, my friend? And the reason I got that on the screen, if you guys see the donations wanted, years ago when I wanted to prove so many, the community got together and everybody donated to me over like a month or 2 month period and allowed me to buy the Proof so many. And when I bought my X1 Carbon, I sold all my bunch of diode lasers that I had, and the community got together and I got around $500 or so in donations. I got a hold of Sobol, Comgrow. I wanted to review the SV08. No luck. A lot of people have them. I wasn't lucky enough to get a review unit to do video content on and make some cool helmets. So I'm asking for donations. If anybody would like to donate to me, I have a PayPal link. It's pinned in chat. Looking for a link, donations over time, so I can hopefully come up with enough money to order an SV08 so I can review it and do content on it. And all the people that donate to me, I'll keep track of your name, and then all the videos that I do for that particular printer when I get it is in the end. I'll have a thing that'll scroll up on the screen listing everybody donated and helped me out. I really appreciate it. It won't list their dollar amount. It'll just list the name of the person that donated to help me buy that, and I'd appreciate it. And see, we got Brandon Knapp in chat. Hello, Brandon. He's related to me. So, anyway.
But George Knapp isn't, though. We know that.
No, George Knapp's not. My mom years ago, my phone book was G Knapp. And here's, hey, Dark Jester, how you doing today? Yeah, my mom used to be in the phone book years ago, back when there were phone books, and it was G Knapp. And she get calls all the time for the news reporter, but it wasn't her, so she had to go unlisted. So anyway,
news reporter, hell, man, he's the UFO guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I believe in UFOs and all the above, but I'm not related to him. Never met him.
Actually, I used to live over by where he used to the PTs. He used to hang out the PTs on 6th and Sahara. And he used to go into the Smiths down at Sahara in Maryland, and so I know what his favorite beer is: Coors Light, Silver Bullet. Yeah, he's a Silver Bullet man. As far as beer. And
then my vape pipe died on me. went through like 3 of these things, and they tend to leak, and sometimes I got to clean them out with tissue. But another one died. The battery's charged up. Usually, when you put a battery in the bottom of it, it'll light up, go off. You click it 6 times and it lights up and it works, but it's completely dead.
You put in the battery wrong around.
No, it's right in the right way. I've done everything I could think of. So then I went and bought this disposable right here. It's only good for so many puffs, and you can recharge it. So I need to see my son sent me a link to another vape pipe he's using, he really likes, that I may buy. But I'm going to see if there's a hack online somewhere where I can add juice to this, because then after it goes dead, I can recharge it. But anyway. So that's my hang up is I'm not an alcoholic. I don't smoke, but I do vape. Hello, Chris Mink. How you doing, my friend? Chris Mink, channel member there. Hello. And Sergio is also a channel member. And Kenny Sims is also a channel member. And Matt is not. Someday. And if you noticed in my thumbnail, I mentioned that Matt's a co-host of the stream. He's been here. I've been streaming 2.5 years, probably doing this every week on Twitch and YouTube. Twitch, I've been with them like a year and a half, but it's been a long time. And Matt's always here. He's only missed like 3 streams. So I listed him on my thumbnails now as my co-host, Tactile 3D Printing. So he's in he'll be in all my thumbnails. Unless he pisses me off, then I'll change it. So
I am coming up to a year. Almost.
Yeah, it used to be Liam, but Liam used to be my regular. Originally, it was me and Liam, and then we met Matt, and then it was us 3, and then so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, because my registration's coming up, and I met you shortly after getting that truck.
Oh, also, Kenny, I got an email from Uniformation. There's an update for the firmware for your printer and my printer, but I've never installed it yet. So you might want to go on their website and check. There is an updated firmware for that. Hello, Blasto. How you doing today?
I need to get this thing busy again. I mean, it is. I do like resin printing. Don't get me wrong, but that Godfather kind of frustrated the hell out of me. Because why is this breaking?
Yeah.
Liam's gone completely off the YouTube grid, huh?
No.
He's still posting occasionally. He dropped in here a couple months ago. I sent him an email that we really missed him, so he popped in once. I'm not sure how often he watches, but he's just been busy doing other things. So
yeah.
Mac, hello. How are you?
Yeah, but he was always on your stream. Then he did his Wednesday night stream all the time, and always posting.
Yeah, I guess he just got busy or work got in the way. I don't really know, but
things happen. His son also, I think, taking him to games or something, or
swimming meets, I believe. Yeah,
swim meets. Okay.
That was the one that was into the eclipse stuff that already happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's into astrology.
Yep.
He's an ambassador for NASA. Yeah.
Coming back from Keeming yesterday, we saw a transport, auto transport, all Teslas, and up on the front, it had the truck. And she's seen one look at that thing. She goes, God, that thing's ugly. So we've seen a Tesla truck in real life. And yeah, there's a carrier, nothing but Teslas in that Tesla truck.
Yeah, I seen a picture on Facebook yesterday where somebody wrapped their Tesla in how you wrap them with graphics. They wrapped it in rust. They put a rust wrap on it, so it looks like it's rusted.
Really? Cool. Rust? A rust?
The rust wrap, yeah.
That's kind of funny.
Oh, well, people do the oddest things, don't they?
Especially if you got the money.
On a cruise. Yeah, my wife's been on one cruise. Her mother-in-law goes all the time, or her stepmom goes all the time on cruises.
I love cruises. I've been on 5 or 6. I've been on
Navarre. I'm not interested in cruises. I mean, come on, you're trapped on a boat with like 2,000 other people.
Yeah, but there's so much to do. I mean, you trust me, you just do not get bored. There is so many things to do on it, and so much food.
Yeah.
As one of the comedians put it, this is the only place you come to vacation and you walk onto the boat, and then when you get ready to leave, they have to lift you up on a crane and put you on the side because you wind up gaining so much weight.
Yeah, the only time it would have been bad to be on a cruise was during COVID when they made everybody stay on the ships for, a month or so on end. It was, you couldn't leave. That was crazy.
Yeah, well, but at least they fed you, right, and everything else.
Yeah. In the last 10, 15 years, there's been some crazy stuff happening with ships. We had that one guy that was trying to show off. So where was that? That one captain, he was showing off, and he hit a sandbar. And then you had the other one that got stuck under the bridge and caused the bridge collapse.
I think that was called the Lusitania or something like that, where it rolled over. Yeah. That was crazy. They wound up
he was trying to show off to a girlfriend or something like that.
Yeah, he got too close to the island. That's a shame they couldn't have saved that ship. And I think at least 1 or 2 people died in that.
And I think he lost his job over that.
Oh,
well, he
get promoted for a bigger ship,
He was one of the first people off the ship, so that's the first thing that screwed him right there. The captain goes down with the ship. That's a golden rule. You're the last person to ever get off a ship if you have to get off, not the first. So
my buddy, he's retired, and every year, like the past 20, 25 years, he goes on a different cruise in different countries. 2 years ago, he was in Australia. Last year, he was Korea and in Asia, a few places.
All right.
And he does all these cruises every year. I take him to the airport. Every year I drive him to the airport and pick him up. So, but that's his thing. That's what him and his wife does. Every year they go on a different cruise.
I've only been on one ship. It wasn't allowed to leave San Diego. It's no longer on the ocean, but it was floating, and it was really awesome. And it's the first and only time I've ever been on a big ship. It's called the USS Midway. Took a tour. That was really awesome, the aircraft carrier, to be on that and go through all the levels. It's hard to imagine that something that big and heavy could float, So, yeah.
I've been on the Queen Mary down Long Beach a few times.
Yeah, I've been on the Queen Mary.
I get on small boats, very small boats, like on Lake Mead, rough water. I get seasick. When we went for our wedding, we went to Hawaii for a week, and I went on this one ride where you're on the boat and you go downstairs and there's portholes like you're underwater. The way it's designed, and it was really rough in the water. My wife didn't, but I got sick as a dog. I get seasick really easy, so that's my downfall.
And that is a bad feeling from what I hear. I haven't gotten seasick. Well, I got seasick one time, but it was in a rowboat and that was during a hangover. I had a hangover and went fishing the next day. Yeah, and I actually got.
Were you feeding the fish?
It was a surprise because I'd never before gotten seasick, and I'd been on a lot of boats, go fishing out all the time and everything else. And
yeah, I've
never
been on
got seasick.
Oh, nice.
when I was living in Los Angeles. My friend and I and my brother, we went on a fishing trip. Like you can go on like boats there, you can rent them for like a day, 40 quid or something, and take you out to middle of the ocean or certain fishing spots, and you fish there and then come back. And yeah, I was seasick, and then afterwards when I ate something, I felt much more better. I was
Yeah,
eating the fish. Well, I was talking to my brother, and all of a sudden I went like, "Bleh."
The most exciting thing I've ever done in my entire life. The most exciting thing I've ever done in my entire life is I went skydiving twice. It wasn't tandem. I got out on my own recognizance, I guess you call it, and the chute opened and I landed. And the second jump, a week after the first jump, I snapped my foot, so I got a steel plate and 8 screws in my right ankle. But that's probably the most exciting thing I've ever done is to go skydiving. So I've been on a chopper, I've been in a hot air balloon, but skydiving, you're in control of your own destiny, and live or survive. It's up to you. So I did that twice. And I'm afraid of heights. I don't like cliffs. I don't like edges of anything. I have never been to the Grand Canyon, and if I did, I wouldn't walk up to the edge and look over. I'm afraid something would push me. Anyway, I'm not into heights.
Yosemite, El Capitan, look down, been there.
And how was it when I actually got out of the plane and my chute's open? I'm gliding along. It was great. I loved the hell out of it. It didn't scare me at all. But I don't like heights.
Here, DC
like
Police
heights,
Department and the National Guard for a while were doing this thing where the National Guard helicopter would meet us at the armory, and they would take up a couple of officers, okay? And, to report from up there, whatever was going on. And I got to go a couple times on an actual Huey, which was pretty nice because they're nice and roomy. Because then I went into the police helicopter, and it seats 4, but you are crunched in there.
Yeah,
unless you're in the front seat. You're in that back seat, 2 people fit back there. You don't have a whole lot of room to move around.
Yeah, but the police helicopter have a lot of stuff in it, like cameras and video equipment and so
yeah,
on.
the guys up front do. They have the what do you call it? The night vision stuff and all of that. Yeah, pretty cool. And it was interesting because the pilot has to monitor 2 frequencies, right? He's got to monitor the police frequency, and then he has to monitor the air traffic control, because we're right near National Airport. So, we had to dip and dive. Like when we went along the river, we actually have to go out towards the river, come down pretty low and go out, because there were planes taking off literally from National Airport, which was quite interesting. And we were going down and we were up the river, which was interesting.
I was probably 11 or 12 at the Jerry Lewis Telethon at the convention center. I went with my sister because when I was little, me and my sister took me everywhere. And they had a MASH style helicopter that's just a great big glass dome or plastic, I guess it would be. And there's no doors on it, only seats 3 people. And I was in the center. My sister was next to me, of course, strapped in, seatbelts. And my sister, I remember her hand was the shape of where you get out. She's hanging on to the glass, and her hand is like frozen in that position. But we went up and down the strip at night when I was a little kid. And I remember the next day I was telling this neighbor girl about the chopper I'd rode on. She's like, "Oh, yeah, I was on the chopper ride." I said, "No, I'm not talking about the carnival ride. We go around in circles. I was in a chopper," and I explained it. So that's the one and only time I was in a chopper.
You ever fly in
the chopper?
You ever fly like on one of those prop planes, the small prop planes?
Yeah, that's what I went skydiving at. It was silver. It was a fixed wing wing above, and the strut. When you get out of it, you're hooked up. You're tethered. You hang on to the strut when you get out, which holds the wing. You look back at the guy, and of course you fall away, and they explain to you what to do. Your chute automatically pulls. I didn't want to go tandem a lot higher because if I'm going to die or something's going to happen, I don't want it to be somebody else's fault. If I'm going to do this, let it be my, good or bad or otherwise. I don't want it to be his time to go and I'm strapped to him when God's calling him or something. So anyway, a Bell 47. Okay. Yeah. I don't remember what it was called, but yeah, the one and only time. And then a hot air balloon one time, there was a fair. I was working in construction. We went out to these fairgrounds and this person that I had met there that I knew I worked with knew the people that had a balloon and they were giving people rides across the valley. And I went up in a hot air balloon with 2 little kids, the pilot and then myself, and went halfway across the valley. And of course, a hot air balloon, depending on the elevation, it is up or down. It has different wind drafts going this way or that way to control its direction. So, and then you have to have a chase crew follow it to catch up with it when it comes down so they can grab the taglines and stop it.
What he's saying about, I can't think of his name. Edge of 3D. What? I can't think of his name. I don't know why. Getting too old. But anyway, not only do we have to in DC, it's even worse because even for police helicopters, we have Scott. That's right, Scott. Thank you, Scott. We have so many other restrictions because the White House and the U.S. Capitol. Even when we have to go, when the police helicopter has to go near the White House, they have to notify Secret Service that they're coming in, or to be real close to the White House, and there's so many other restrictions. I mean, it's crazy.
They have anti-aircraft guns or missiles on,
the White House, right? I've heard that. I don't know if it's true. It is.
No.
It's protected.
I'm sure.
Yeah, Olympus must be protected.
After 9/11, it's protected.
Especially after 9/11. That's correct. Especially after 9/11.
So anyways, I've been in an OH-58, which is like a news helicopter 4-seater. I've been in a Huey. When you start crew chief school, they take you up in a Huey up at Fort Rucker, Alabama. And I've also been in a Cobra, attack helicopter.
Oh.
Metropolitan Police Department.
The Cobra snake? How you fit in the snake?
I wanted to go in an Apache, but they wouldn't let me.
Oh.
The Metropolitan Police Department here about 20 years ago near my mom's house in the center of town had a chopper go down. They both survived it, but it came down on the street in a residential neighborhood. I don't know if they lost power or what happened, but they survived it. So it must have partially auto-rotated down, but it hit pretty hard, destroyed the chopper, but they did walk. They survived it.
Oh,
hey, hello, Stephen.
Here's another short one. When I first got over to Germany, it was the 37th Cav, and they didn't have helicopters yet. They were adding helicopters, AAK Air Cav. So I got stuck in the mailroom until the helicopters arrived. And then
we have 1970 Fallout. All out, I mean. Fallout.
So,
hey, Vincent.
Hey, all out.
Hey, Vincent.
All right.
Good, Kenny.
So let me. Okay. So, I got stuck in the mailroom. It was around the holidays. So as a treat to the mailroom, we all got to go through the Chinook simulator on base that they had at the time, and we're talking in the 80s. So instead of like software for your landscape, it was actually, and they took us on tour before we went in the simulator. It was a big long wall of landscape that a camera would fall on the track. Okay, and I got to go, since I had wings, being a crew chief, because most of the mailroom, they weren't crew chiefs. I was. So I got to go through it twice. On the second time, the instructor cut both of my engines over a lake, so I crashed into the lake.
My neighbor used to be a Black Hawk pilot. He lives in the Guam right now. He's older now. He's in his 70s, but he's back when Black Hawk Down happened. He knew some of the pilots, and he had never seen that movie. He refused to watch it. They knew some of those pilots that were killed, but that's what he used to do. He's telling me.
I'll be back in a second. My car is ready. I'm going to go across the street.
Hello, Vincent. How are you doing today? What's going on, bud?
I've been tinkering around for my brother's birthday tomorrow, so I make him. It's not done yet. A jail for Jack Daniels, and he
Oh,
thinks
nice.
I draw it myself, and so I was tinkering around basically with Tinkercad, and he thinks he can open it like this. Hold on.
$20 if you drop the bottle.
No, there's
All you need to do
protection in it.
Oh, wow. It's got a lot of nuts to take off. That'll take a while.
Yep.
Oh, now when you put that together on the bottom, you probably put a single nuts and glued it together, right? So he has to do the top.
I welded the bottom.
That's a good idea.
Together.
Welding it together, all of it together.
Cool.
No, not all of them, but
That's
I didn't
cool.
like the design. I was just tinkering a little bit.
Where you got it from? You made it yourself?
In Tinkercad. But I didn't like that this was bigger than the bottom, so I'm also 3D printing a cover part. It's now on the printer, so it's going to be the same size as this.
It's very cool.
And then I'm
I
going to glue that on.
I can imagine what that costs over there, that Jack Daniels.
This bottle was about $35.
How much?
€35?
What is it?
35?
35?
Yeah, it's 70 centiliters, so not almost a liter.
Right.
Nice.
So yeah,
50
so
quid
my
over
brother
here.
needs to stop drinking, and he's gonna be 53 tomorrow. So on Mother's Day, so I thought to myself, you know what, I'll make something like this.
Yeah,
No, there's
Remember to give
protection
him a
in it.
Mother's Day card.
The bottle cannot shake. There's a protection layer in here and on the top. So the cap is falling in a small hole, and there's a soft piece in there. Otherwise, and also when you tighten the nuts, you have to watch out. Otherwise, you break it because you press it together with so much force.
I hate when my nuts have. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, that's
Nice.
what I've been working on.
Jerry.
I see Zombie Hedgehog is having a birthday. I'm not sure how old he is, but he'll be streaming on Twitch tonight, and he's having a lot of giveaways. So I'm thinking an hour or two after my stream ends, he will be live on Twitch, and he's having a ton of giveaways. So if people want to check out Zombie Hedgehog over on Twitch.
And Laser Rome was last week, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because we forgot to announce it.
I came in late, so I didn't know they were going live, and that's why I popped in late.
I didn't. I was doing other stuff that night, so.
Yeah.
So I've got a question. Anybody use a lot of eSun? I've got problems with my K1 with under extrusion. I think I found out what the problem was. Took the printer apart and everything, and I cannot go higher than basically 100 millimeters a second, if I'm correct. Yes, pronounce that right. My medication is kicking in, so otherwise I get a lot of under extrusion. Is that normal?
Lucky, you said your medication's kicking in.
Yeah.
You know, it depends. It's just because you see, the K1 is a high-speed printer, and some of the filament can't be processed by the printer fast enough, or just melt fast enough. The only way you can do is up the temperature to compensate for the to make the melting process faster. You know.
That's I think maybe the problem. That's why when you do a test print, it's on 240 with PLA instead of 215, 220.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
okay.
Go like start out small at 215, go to 220, and then you still see it keep pumping.
Yeah,
it
220,
up.
And it was on 200 millimeters a second and didn't work. Under extrusion.
Another problem because the filament might only go to 150 mmS a second or 180.
Okay, I couldn't find it anywhere, so I was looking for it and I
Yeah.
couldn't find the data sheet for that filament.
Well, there's a lot of people in chat that probably have the K1 that might have an opinion on that, but I
Yeah.
haven't seen nobody chime in yet.
There could be multiple problems. It could be the heater's not heating up to the proper temperature, but gives you false reading, or there could be a possibility. Like part of the heater itself is broke, but I doubt that.
Maybe because this one is broken off.
Probably.
I've got a new one.
Okay,
It's
new shock.
the rubber that you need to put on
Yeah.
there for.
Yeah, the shock that helps to keep
Yeah.
the filament warmer and more stable.
Yeah, I found out that it was broken.
Yeah, you can print it with TPU if you have the file.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I got a little mention for Jerry here. I already thanked him online, person to person, but because I've used it now a few times and it's great. If you guys ever need to ship anything, package, you sell something online, you sell it. Try out Pirate Ship. It's awesome, free. I mean, grant, yes, you got to pay for your package, to ship it. But yeah, and it's got a lot of information. It even tells you when your packages arrived, to the person you sent it to. And I just think it's awesome, and I want to thank Jerry personally for turning.
Yeah, there was another maker here in town that's selling on Etsy, and he said don't use Etsy's shipping service; it's a lot cheaper. Use Pirate Ship, so that's why I use pirateship.com.
I mean, I even for my CCW application for Arizona, I sent that priority. I use Pirate Ship even for that. So.
Yeah, Chris Mink, I'm expecting. You see it?
Twins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having
no comment. No comment.
We're all. Well, I can't say we're all, but a lot of.
Man, I lost 35 kilos in the past year, and I've still got a long way to go. I was over 180 when I started.
No, I got a backache, and somebody just.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got Josh popping in, Recreator 3D. Josh, what's going on, man?
How you doing?
Hey, Josh. No, I got back problem. That's why I moved back and forward. Because when I sit a lot of times, I've been sitting literally the last 2 days in this seat and not moving much, and doing models, and my back is anyway bad, but it just feels better to stand.
Mr. Josh, I drink a lot of water bottles, flavored water bottles. I buy the little flavor package
every day.
So
sure.
Your process will work on any plastic bottle, right?
For the most part, we talk about consistencies and thicknesses, and so you can go to, let's say, a wholesaler like Costco or BJ's, and they've got like paper thin, paper thin type of plastic bottles, and that's like going to be a low density plastic versus a high density plastic that we see in our soda bottles.
Well, I use Walmart water bottles. Great Value brand is the kind of water I buy.
Sure. And so if you could tell me, does it feel like crunchy, almost like a paper, or is it like dense, like thick?
Crunchy like paper because they're cheap and they make everything thin.
So it's not unusable, and I'll say that. But as far as the best bang for your buck, you're going to end up needing to process those very thick as far as a strip is concerned, because we're worried about the thickness. So we're going to use some calipers. You're going to measure out that thickness. It's likely going to be more in a thin, probably more like 0.2. Maybe even lower than that. So for PET bottles in, crunchy. So higher density
means it's really thin, right?
Yep. So first you would want to expand that with heat and pressure. That's going to take all the misconformities out of that bottle so that it's nice and thin. This will allow your bottle to be processed through our bottle cutter or any bottle cutter better than just having it possibly get stuck into one of those lips that your bottle has. It's easy to get stuck and kind of misform as you're cutting them down. Ultimately, those bottles are going to only yield likely about 5 to 10 grams of filament, as opposed to 25 grams that I can yield on a standard 2-liter bottle. So the best bang for your buck is to maybe think about the water that you're consuming and maybe go from the standard smaller to a 5-liter jug. So if you are considering to use Recreator and to save plastic, some members have decided that they've changed their lifestyle. They want to be able to put that plastic back into their production. So they maybe drink a little more water per day, or just, go, instead of having multiple bottles that you have 32 per pack or so, now you've gone to a metal container. You got a little hippy dippy, and I got my metal container kicking around here. So
your splicer that you have for splicing filament together, since you can't open it up once it's spliced, if I had 2 partial rolls and I joined them, then I just got to take the roll that's maybe 10 or 15 foot long and pull it all the way through till I get to the end of it and then connect another one to it.
We have a community joiner called Meld. That's pretty much just a hand joined method. A lot of our members are lower income, and so at the end of the day, most people who are using recycled filament and getting it out of the recycling bin don't want to spend a lot of money.
I can relate to lower income, even though I got a YouTube channel and I got all this cool stuff. That's credit cards that I owe a lot of money on in the past. And anyway,
I'm right there with you. And 90% of the community for Recreator are lower income, and not to get into that or anything like that, but we all have different lifestyles, thought processes amongst those lifestyles, as well as regions. So some lower towns, rural towns, rather than a city, perhaps they don't have the recycling facility options that the next town over or city does. Same thing with a state. And then we go beyond our states into our countries and a global region. So it's a great topic to talk about. As far as the joining goes, yes, there's another one called Slunaz that I openly promote, and that's more automation. Eventually, Meld will be automated to accommodate the users that want to put the extra money into it, so that it's a less manual, time-consuming option.
What type of plastic are water bottles and Coke bottles? What type of plastic is that?
Good question.
PTFE.
We get again like low density, medium density, and high density, and then where did your bottle come from? So right now, Coca-Cola, they're on a 2035 initiative campaign to become 100% recycled. They currently promote themselves as 100% recycled, despite their 2035 initiative to finish that campaign. And so Snapple, I can confirm with you, does have 100% recycled plastic. This you can see in the color and consistency of those bottles compared to like what you just showed us. And the paper thin, that's going to be more of like a PTE rather than just a straight PET 1. So
over here we have
what do you got going on there, Vincent?
PLA.
It's done.
We have cups from PLA over here.
Yup.
Have you seen this, Josh?
That's good. I mean, I stopped drinking last year. I think you're an awesome brother if you're trying to help your brother curb.
Yeah, and the thing weighs a lot, man.
You got to work for that if you really want it. I wouldn't. I'd just go down the street and say thanks for the shrine.
I was just taking an angle grinder to it.
Unfortunately, once you get
but that's the thing.
The itch, you got the itch.
That's the thing. I've tried it, and what happens is if you cut one, because of the pressure, it's evenly on there. I did it with a toy crunch, So if you cut one, it's gonna be like, and you break the bottle, and then it's empty.
You know, Vincent,
luck.
if you can just instill it on, you know, like that's a good just visual, like a visual, you know, like so for people who are trying to get over alcoholism, like just having, it's like anything else when you're trying to get over smoking a cigarette. Some people just get like a dowel or a pencil and just puff on it like it's real, even though they're not getting anything other than just the stimulation out of it. So
It's not. It's just a little bit too short, but it's okay for now.
You know what?
it's like, you know, keep
that
the
would've been
booze
a good-
locked up. It's good.
That would have been a good gag gift because once he finally takes it all apart and gets to it, and he realized, wow, the cap has been cracked, and he takes it out and he smells it, and it smells like flavored water. He goes,
Yeah.
went through all that, and it's not even real alcohol; it's flavored water.
Some apple juice.
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, and also I've been working on that planter thing. Printed the top part, and now I'm working on the dividers. That's gonna be done next week.
A really big
So I'm
hookah.
still looking for a pump, so I can hope
Yeah,
maybe
we know what
get
you
it
use
running
that
this
bong
year.
for. We know what you use that bong for. We know you live in Holland, or
Hey, the whole world turning into Holland.
Yeah. Very cool.
No, there's a very strict law, and for me, it's most of the time for herbs and that kind of stuff that I put in my food dehydrator and make my own stuff in the kitchen.
a lot of people do that.
Yeah. So
it's really good. The so we have a worm compost bin, and in similar sense that you can now print a worm compost bin. That was something I think I paid really good money for at one point, and it's survived almost 15 years. So to think that even if it didn't survive, I could just reprint a new tray or a whole second apparatus that I would have had to pay more good money for. I think the more that we bring in, you know, I got the recycle 3D XYZ going on. That's a perfect example for bringing those, food waste and full circle.
Have you seen those 3D printed beehives?
Yep. So Dr. Mason, we got him to our recreator table last year at EARF. He has a phenomenal project going on right now, and he shares more stuff with me on the back end that I can't share, but it's phenomenal. It's to think what kind of insects are attracted to what variety of plastic, and then again, like what's in that plastic. And he hasn't tried PLA wood filament, which for me smells like cinnamon, you know, or vanilla.
You know what this is?
That's just your like body spray, right?
Yeah, but if you spray it on sheep, and there might be a male sheep out on the thing, they're gonna get naughty.
They're gonna get
With
naughty.
this stuff, seriously, farmers use it over here to spray on.
Well, so that's like kind of where they're at right now. So like the bees have their pheromones and they're attracted to what they're attracted to. So if we can have a material that they're more attracted to, and in my mind, I want to donate some bamboo, not bamboo brand, but just like a wood filament. In my head, if the bees are already attracted to wood for burrowing, they might be more inclined to go towards the wood.
You know how I found out about this?
How?
I almost found out the bad way.
Oh no!
Oh
no!
Yeah.
You should end that story right now, Matt.
No, thank God it was only females. And they were all like coming towards me and like sniffing me. And I'm like, what's going on with those bloody sheep? And I'm like,
that's like love potion number 9.
I can't make an eye. TMI. Anyways.
So full circle back, you know, Matt, you mentioned PLA, which is super awesome that your plastic in your country like are going more towards PLA. We don't really have PLA plastic, but I would love for it to go that way. I'd actually love to see some of our HDPE, you know, like number 5s. That's going to be like mostly like your soda plastic bottles that you would get from oh my god, sorry, I'm blipping. Like McDonald's, all your fast food chains, that's a number 5. And if we can work with that, it's just a whole other material. If you've not seen Stefan's video where he's pretty much making his own custom branded filament and stuff, that's the one to look at, because it's really showing you, pultrusion isn't just PET 1. It's pretty much whatever you can put into it.
Some of those mechanisms I've seen, they look like a boat winch you have on a boat. You got the crank and the way it has gear reduction on it. Looks like
Sure,
a boat winch.
And unfortunately, I can't really talk about gear ratio reduction and all that jazz. It's not my forte, but we've had a couple other people who it is that have worked on the firmware with us on the back end when we first got going. Like anything else, some people are there for, as I say, a lifetime, a season, a lifetime, or a reason, a season, a lifetime. Sorry.
Spit it out, Josh.
A reason, a season, a lifetime. So if you start looking at your, go ahead.
I seen Uncle Jesse's video this morning where he finished up most of his Magneto, and they worked on that like a year or so ago. And now that I seen what he had done, I'm thinking, you know what? If me and Matt helped me size it up in lube band, I should have made a hole, put a pole all the way through it. And what he has appears to be either a gas pipe he bought at Home Depot or Lowe's, or a sprinkler pipe, the way it's threaded on the ends.
That's
a great idea.
Just even if you had a leftover tent for your that's all it came from as far as what he's using for the base. Now
that it's done, even if I took off the tail, which is hot glued on, I laid it down, I don't have anything where I take something 2 inches around and run it all the way through it and let it melt its way all the way through it cleanly. And you can't drill it; it'll just blow it apart. It'll shatter it.
Do you have a second pair of hands helping you?
Huh?
Or do you have a second pair of hands helping you, or are you just doing it by yourself?
Well, I'm not going to do it at all. I'm just gluing them back together. But I'm saying if I was to change it and I had some kind of a heat gun on a rod that was like 2 or 3 inches around, and I could just run it all the way up through it, it'd melt its way all the way through it, then I could do that once it's finished. But if I ever do another one, I'll design it so I could run a rod through the model.
How's your infill?
Is your infill anywhere from 5 to 15, depending on what part of the model. But what happened, the reason it broke is because even though I used a lot of gloop, I thought I used a lot of gloop, when I stuck it together, it wasn't bonded together tight enough, so it never got a tight weld. So when it pulled apart and broke, you can simply see glue on both sides, and there wasn't enough of it. It didn't fuse the model together. So when I took 2-part epoxy that was recommended to me, and I dumped it in the upper half, and I painted it all over it, the female side of the socket on the key had a lot of resin just sitting in it. So when I flipped it over, it made a good bond. Then I put the 2x4 on the hand to hold it at that exact angle, let it cure all night. So it's not coming apart again. May it ever break somewhere else? The only time it would ever break again is if I went to transport it, and me and my son are carrying it out of the house, and I tweak a leg maybe too tight. Then I find out, I didn't have that joint glued well enough because it just broke there. And then we drop it on the ground because what we're holding just broke. So I don't know. But in the future, if I ever do a Predator, I know what to do. I will use resin when I put everything together, and I won't use glue.
Also,
what material was it?
PLA. Polymaker, Polylite.
So with the gloop, it's making a chemical reaction primarily. So
if it's pressed together well enough, if I could have clamped all the parts rather than just press them together for 30 seconds and put in duct tape, if I could actually press them together, I would have probably got a better bond. So
you're see what Uncle Jesse's going through.
The problem with gloop, I think, is if you paint it on with a paintbrush, you just make a thin layer. But if you drop it onto it, you have to be, very quickly to distribute. Otherwise, it's almost after like 10 seconds, it will start going solid.
I had gloop that's real runny, and I've had other gloop that was very thick. So it needs to be like a big dollop of gloop that's very thick, and then stick them together, let it squeeze itself out. It depends on the glue that I've had on the different bottles that I've had, but I still have a lot of glue.
What I've been doing on large print, I've been using glue, putting point on it, and then not even wiping it, just pressing it immediately together. So I have only 5 seconds worth in the open air, and then immediately.
You could use glue stick.
So Josh, what do you think material-wise I need for holding like spices?
2-part epoxy, 50-50, mix it up in a container. It's very thick, and that's what I use. The reason they're in little bags is when I cut the tip, I couldn't put the protective cap back on. It wouldn't fit, so I just put them in little bags. So if it ever gets tipped over or something, I still got plenty left for use for other things. If you make a sign and you color and grade it, or something like that, you use the same type of epoxy.
Vincent, so what are you asking exactly?
Yeah, I basically want to make these kind of canisters. But what material do I need to use to hold like these kind of
The
spices?
food safe. I mean, so
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much. So that's the debate. Like anything else, like what's food safe. So just because it's a plastic bottle, in my mind, doesn't necessarily make it food grade material.
Yeah.
For me, it's important that it
Jerry?
be dry.
I would stick to glass. You know what you use for like putting
Just like mason jars and stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Put it in there.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, your glass is going to be
stuff like that.
and so that's great, Matt, because at the end of the day, like I know we all love 3D printing, but when it comes down to are we going to just are we going to waste our filament? Are we going to waste our time? Or, like that glass, glass can last our lifetime. Forever. And it could go to your next generation.
Basically, use jars that you use for canning.
Yep. Now let me be a devil's advocate. So what happens when you get crushed glass? Do you guys know? All right. So when you crush glass, like crush it, grind it, bring it down to its like basic form, it'll turn into sand. And, like sand that is not sharp, sand that can go back and revitalize like sand dunes and like oceans and stuff like that. So now think about all the plastic that happens in microplastics, and now literally all those microplastics are in the ocean floating, getting eaten by all our lovely fish that we like to eat, and everything else that's going back to our water sources. What if that was sand? So if you didn't have all the plastic floating around because you focused more on using glass as an alternative to just all the plastics.
So basically, a canning jar. Is the best option.
Just sanitize it before you use it. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like so anything else, now you can focus on the lips that those have, and you can make all your designs around the lips, and you can go to your heart's content and be like, oh, well, I just got this. I'm just trying to think of like Vegemite. I just had a conversation with somebody from Aussie, so at the end of the day, they got their Vegemite, and so like that's in a glass bottle, but it's got a certain throat, and so you got to now design to have a fix for that. Like anything else. I'm sure if you did a search right now, 20 of them would come up.
I got Vegemite in the cupboard. I'm gonna go grab it.
Sure.
First time that I tasted it with my cousins.
Some people don't know, like, and that's like anything else. Like, so the joke is that Australia doesn't exist, I guess. And so as far as like when you talk about printers in Africa being our Ender 3 is $800 in Africa.
That's it.
Importing stuff to Australia right now is horrible. It costs so much money.
Yeah.
But they love their Vegemite. I don't know. I've never tried it, so
I've
never tried it.
Family over there,
No.
and I ship sometimes a box with candy, and it costs so much money to ship it.
I mean, it's like what is it? Like a candy vegetable?
No.
It's a byproduct from beer or something. If you have high blood pressure, it's super salty and it'll kick your blood pressure. It tastes nasty. It's really, 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 really salty. But evidently it's good on grilled cheeses and soups and stuff, according to Kieran, that used to be on here all the time.
So
ordered this from me and had it sent to my house.
I like nasty things. One of my favorite drinks is Jägermeister and pineapple. And people are just like, Jägermeister and pineapple, are you fucking disgusting? Like, yes, I am. Sorry.
And yes, pineapple goes really good on pepperoni pizza. I usually don't do it like that. I prefer mushroom pepperoni only, but if it has pineapple, I'll definitely eat it because yes, it is good, enhances the flavor.
Let me remove Josh. Being so disgusting.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zachary from 3D Prints. Zachary 3D Prints. What's going on, buddy? How you
What's
doing
up, Zach?
today?
I'm doing great. How's everybody doing?
Did you
That's
finish
it to
print
me,
yet?
boys.
Sorry.
Oh, Betty Boop was pretty mad at me last week when I told her when I woke her up and said, "Oh, by the way, you won some filament, but you didn't say hi in chat or say anything." So I redrew. Yeah, she wasn't too happy about that. But that rules are rules, right?
You told on
course.
yourself?
Yeah, I'm an honest person.
I did
Well,
that
there's-
to my Prusa.
There's honest, and if you don't say anything, it's still being honest if you don't say anything.
Now she says he was being a jerk.
Nice.
No,
No,
I even
you're
yelled for you. I
withholding
even yelled for her.
information. That's
Nice.
not being honest. If you know
Hey.
about something,
And Betty Blue, if you play the tape back, I said it more than once. I just give it to her. We all know who she is.
Oh,
I
you
said,
called
just
the
give it to
Betty
her. I
Blue?
said,
Well, you gotta say hi in chat at the very least.
hey, Betty Boop.
so it's on him. He's the
And
bad
we
guy.
have
I
somebody
said,
else popping
I said
in.
give it to her.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got Dale dropping in. Hey, Dale, how you doing?
Hey, how we doing, man?
How goes it?
Yeah, not too bad. Just turned the Chromebook volume down, though. I forgot I had it on. Sitting there. There we go. That's
Zachary
better.
done a great
How you
interview at Ramurf, Rocky Mountain Rep Rap, where he interviewed Recreator 3D, the man that was representing
Yeah,
Josh's project, and he done a great interview.
it was
Excellent.
an amazing interview. I
Actually,
Bill knows so much about the
gonna
recreator.
throw
He could
Bill.
tell every single time the same kind of thing. It's just amazing.
Oh my God, Josh Grove is letting his beard grow out again. Somebody stop that man.
Now look at me. I'm doing the same thing with Josh does.
I
The
think he's got you beat. In fact, if we made it gray, he'd look like Santa Claus.
Zachary can't grow nothing. We know all that. He always have a baby face.
let's see, Bill.
Oh, oh, oh.
No,
Don't
I
be
just
shy,
shaved today.
Zachary.
Man, speaking of Santa Claus, consider be here before you know it.
That's it. Counting the days.
I mean, does anybody else feel like somebody's sitting on the hyperspace button, or the hyper, God.
On the who?
Let's
I
use
mean-
the old PC
You
term.
just-
Saturday comes in like 3 days. I'm
Yeah.
like, Saturday's here already?
Yeah, use the old PC days term, the turbo button.
Oh yeah, from 33 to 66, or from 66
Wait,
to
what are you
99.
talking PC? I'm talking back in the Star Wars days from the 70s, the hyper,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Han Solo's button for it.
hyperdrive.
Yeah, hyperdrive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you ready, Jerry?
Just a little question about this turbo button. Isn't that not equal thing like normal
Hey,
printer
Simon,
versus
channel member,
clipper?
hello, hello.
Yeah, it could do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
This is
Nice.
I
Okay,
designed
guys,
this.
I'm off again.
All
I
right.
gotta do some things. So.
Take care, Vincent. Have a
Vincent.
great day, my
Take
friend.
care, Vince. I designed this for a friend of mine who lives in Latvia, next to
All right.
Russia, basically. And I'm not sure, but I think he's a journalist or something.
Nice.
He need to do a copy
The hell
of,
is that?
this is called the golden apple tree of
No, the
Latvia.
noise you were talking about. That was somebody had a spool. They were spinning something.
I can't pronounce the name Latvia. It's basically about Poland, the three countries right next to Russia.
It looks
on
like
the
an ugly
Baltic
tree.
Yeah, it's called the golden apple tree, and it's basically given out for people of speciality, like done something special. It's like a reward for the person.
All right.
So he wanted me to design it, and he showed me the design, and I just, go after his specs and what he sent me. He sent me a few pictures and said, "I want this. Can you do me a copy of that?" I said, "Okay, yeah."
Nice.
And I made a copy for him.
That weird echo that I've
Oh.
had for weeks and weeks, I shouldn't have it today because I have not enabled my Stream Deck. If I turn on the Stream Deck, it'll come back.
Yeah. And he's
What's
a blue one.
What do you mean by your Stream Deck? Is that like your console that you push all your buttons and fun stuff?
Just change screens and stuff like that, or have the alien pop up. Yeah. It's got, yeah.
So is
Josh,
that a bad like feature in the system, or just incompatibility overall, or just curious?
I don't know. I thought it was a electrical problem with my Bose speakers plugged into my PC. I was getting feedback, but I don't know. It's
Hey,
something weird.
Oh.
I'm not
Josh.
sure what's
it's a little bit the turbo buttons, but then for live streams.
So I didn't know if
That's the one.
Kenny, I think Kenny, was your turbo button as far as reality feeling like it's not 7 days, it's 3 days?
Something like that.
Back in
yeah.
the day, I liked God mode on all my games. If you couldn't figure the game out, just enable God mode, and nobody could shoot you or could run through walls or whatever. God mode.
What's that? Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start. What?
Yeah.
Something like
Oh.
Okay, raise your hand. Who played Duke Nukem?
No, not
Everybody
me.
did.
I didn't.
Okay, here's another
I
one.
played Doom.
Doom.
Okay, here's another one. Who wants some wang?
Ah, you no mess with the little wang.
Wing?
You not the man you used to be.
And
Did you see the new one of that? Did you see the new version of that?
Okay, what about the original Wolfenstein?
Yep.
Yeah, I played that.
Hey, can you remember the phrase? Ever, everything.
Who wants some wang?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got
Wang.
Scott with Edge of 3D. Hey, Scott.
Hey,
What
Scott,
up?
how you doing?
What's up, Scott?
Scott.
Scott.
I'm here. Present accounted for. And
Hey.
apparently Gabby Giffords thinks that I'm going to give her money to take my guns away.
Oh my word.
So I guess
Yeah.
I should have covered that up because everybody just got my address. But there you
Oh,
go.
no.
Since every other person in America has a firearm,
Yes.
the only way they could ever do anything about it, which they're currently doing, is they control the ammo or make it too expensive to buy. The only way they
Well,
can have
I'm
any kind of gun control is ammo control.
I'm sitting here going through today's mail haul, and if I accept every one of these credit offers, there's about $105,000 in credit offers right here.
Wow.
I don't know
Yeah,
that.
I was gonna say,
Josh,
Chris, isn't gun
uh,
control
Kevin,
using
you know
two
that
hands?
person?
got a Kevin in the back room.
Apparently, I need a warranty on my vehicle.
Kevin.
Kevin.
Kevin's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a new man popping in. His name is Kevin. I can't pronounce his last name. Hey, Kevin.
Hello,
Oh,
Kevin.
yeah, I know him. I
Hey,
didn't
Kevin.
see his face, I only saw his beard.
Kevin, how do we say your last name?
It's pronounced Groninga.
Groninga.
Is it Russian?
Groninga.
Hey,
Welcome,
why?
Mr. Groninga.
Thanks. Hey, why is the audio so glitchy? I'm having a hard time. It's all choppy.
Welcome to the interwebs.
I do need to
You
say that
over
the audio is a
yourself
little
or
bit
not?
different than normal.
I don't hear any issues, but we are all
Yeah,
active.
it's all coming through clear here.
Not sure.
It's different than the other times. But maybe, hey, because of the sun flares.
You know, he might have a point there.
How much is property tax in Vegas, Jerry? I think I need to move.
I would roll with it as much as you can, Kevin.
I don't know what I pay, actually. I don't remember.
Yeah, let me leave and come back, see if it gets better.
I just
Okay.
got my
You sound
bill.
fine to us.
$36,000 for this year.
Wow.
Hey, Scott, I thought you were in Texas.
No, I'm in Kansas.
All right.
Because why are you getting some? I thought Giffords was in
Have
Arizona.
you seen the Wicked Witch yet?
I don't know where Giffords is at, but she felt the need to send me this. She felt the need to send me this deal that says I'm standing with you to help end gun violence. Want me to send her between $25 and $100, and
We'll get right on that. You know.
yeah, I'm going to send her something, all right, but it's not going to be what she wants.
Is it me, or does that look like something from the
Well,
Brady
looky
Bunch?
here. I even got a gun safety voter thing here. Like, yeah.
You always can, collect the in your neighborhood to local cooks,
Yeah,
you know,
I
and
have a
then
certain
put it in a
something right
box and send it
beside
to
me
her.
right now, but I don't think she would like it. There's certain something over here.
Yeah, I wish we could go back to the 80s, but we can't. Things were pretty good in America in the 80s. And then now,
I got one good thing in the mail. Harbor Freight. Well,
Yeah, we had
Costco.
There you go.
Yeah, we had Reagan. Reagan was all right.
Harbor
like
Freight
Reagan.
and Costco. I got good stuff in the mail. The rest of it's all garbage.
Costco's good. Costco, yeah, except the lines.
Tuesday's primary around here. Y'all got primary in your states?
there he is. Hey,
No,
Kevin.
not me.
Any better?
California's
No,
the worst. They got propositions.
I'm
Yeah.
voting.
it's
Definitely.
still all weird and choppy. Maybe let me go back to my. I'm on my phone here. Maybe if
yeah,
I went
that's
to my.
why. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I go to my.
With a phone.
Yeah, I'll have to maybe
don't have
fire
a
up my laptop and run it from there. So give me a few
Yeah.
minutes and I'll be back.
And you got
Alright.
and you got to pedal faster for better internet. You got to pedal faster.
Yeah, right. Got to feed the hamsters.
Mhm.
That's the one.
All right.
All right.
Oh,
I'll be
boy.
back. Be back in a
Okay.
sec.
I love
See,
my
good.
service, man. I love it. I love my service.
Terry,
Ours
do you
just
have like
got
mood
upgraded.
lighting going on?
I've got a blue bulb shining on the alien behind me back in the corner.
Oh, because it just went like bright red for a second. I'm thinking, is he doing his
Oh.
own little thing there?
I don't know. If I get up and move around, sit back down, my camera, something with this Hosbach camera, the colors are all messed up, and then it kind of mellows out.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. I was thinking, man, the guy's got mood lighting.
Yeah, I don't know. Something with the camera.
Nothing wrong with that.
My sister. Speaking of mood lighting, my sister, because we just did the picnic a few weeks ago, ear, and she didn't even know she bought them. Mood earrings. They kept changing colors.
Fantastic.
It's like one's green, one's red. You know, it's like whatever.
Oh, wow.
My sister's
Yeah, I
got
thought about
that
doing a
hole in her pocket.
Zombie Hedgehog tonight, everybody. He's having a birthday stream on Twitch. He has a lot of giveaways. If you want to check that out, stream over on Twitch. I thought about having one when I turned 60 on June 12th, but my brother's having knee surgery the same day, so I don't think I'll be having a birthday stream because I'm going to go to the hospital and see how he's doing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
You should stream from the
that one.
hospital.
yeah.
Hey, everybody.
I get paid on my birthday, Social Security.
Yeah, my sister, she'll make me a German chocolate cake for my birthday, and my wife don't like it, so I'll eat all of it. No, she can make it without coconut.
That looks like somebody's, crusher thing. What did they call that? That machine you got a while back.
So
we had a little bit of green herbs there.
Shredder. Shredder was the word I was looking for.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So we got our coffee grinder. So
Oh, my.
anybody has a bamboo printer and they want to start turning their poops into something that's actually manageable, I'm going to be building an art me next week. And so
how much was that coffee grinder and where did you get it from? Let me get
the coffee grinder was only $60 USD. And so anywhere else probably going to be just a few brackets higher. Cheap, but very, very effective for small prints. Like it would annihilate standard benchy. I wouldn't put anything else larger than that into it, but again, for bamboo poops, it gobbles them right up. And then so the Art Me is going to have a smaller, auger bit, and so it's going to be perfect. So for an $800 literal desktop extruder to be able to just shred down whatever comes out of your 8-hour print from your bamboo, put it in the coffee grinder, get it down to its particulates.
I was going to say, how big are the particles?
Very, very tiny. So right now
are we talking 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter pellet size?
Sifting into roughly a 3 millimeter hole. So somewhere in between a 3 millimeter. There are a couple other projects coming out that are having like custom augers that can take up to 0.25.
Nice.
So, like anything else, no, there's no price on that custom one yet. That could fall anywhere from, I'll say $200 to $1,000. So,
Yeah.
Hey Josh, if you
yeah,
go to Paramount Plus and watch Amazing Race from 3 weeks ago, they were in
sure.
some city where the challenge is they were crushing plastic bottles. They got on exercise bikes, and then their partners with them had to feed in the bottles while they're sitting there pedaling away, going through a grinder, crushing up all the bottles. And
I
then when they got
really,
to the cap, obviously they got stuck on the cap, so they'd have to backpedal and hit it again to crush up the cap. But they were
yeah,
using
you have me curious because so one of my mentors is Roman Nishkashev from PetBot, and so the PetBot unit is what I pretty much got started in between on a commercial. Like when I was working on my own pultrusion unit to begin with, and hit the wall frustrated as hell, and just wanted to use pet material, I doubled down and bought the commercial unit, and like anything else, it came to.
And we have somebody else popping in.
Hey Kevin,
Yeah, Kevin's back.
better.
Come on.
So,
I'm back.
like on the topic of this,
Hello. Oh, there you go.
Kevin has started with like a custom, I believe, again, I started doing my research. I started looking into pet pull, and I believe Kevin used a similar pet pull design initially and then moved over to Recreator. So he's a huge influencer on YouTube right now and TikTok,
Nice.
pushing exactly what you can do with Pet One. So I'll let Kevin talk.
Yeah, actually, my first foray into Pet One was a video I saw on YouTube. What was the gentleman's name? He puts out a video about every 2 weeks.
3D,
And
Mr. 3DP.
there you go. Yep. So I kind of followed one of his designs and built one on a big board, basically, from a scrapped 3D printer, essentially. In that case, I think what I did is I bought one of the guts of a 3D printer off of Amazon and built it from that. And had been kind of messing with that for quite a while. And I've been watching other people, Pedimentor, Repet, all these others.
Yeah.
And then I saw the Recreator, and it's like, man, if I can just make one from a scrapped Ender 3.
Hey, Tubin.
Yep.
That'd be huge.
So we call them plank truders for people who don't necessarily want to go with a standard build. They're just saying, okay, we got the spooler, we got the hot end, and we can just mount it to a piece of wood. It obviously doesn't look the greatest, but it is just as efficient.
Josh, do you remember what I did when you first brought out the MK1 with the X-Vico?
Yep, similar thing.
Do you remember what I did though for the extrusion?
Why don't you remind us?
I 3D printed the 2040 extrusion instead
That's
of
right.
using it.
That's right, and that just shows you again, like it
worked.
We're 3D printing with just PLA, and as long as it's not getting a direct heat enough to melt, then you can get away with 3D printing your parts.
Yep, that's how I did the fun size as well. Everything on it, bar the physical hardware, is all printed.
Hey, Tubin. My thinking is what I want to do with my bamboo hoop is to shred it like you did, and then I want to do hold on, where is it now? Drone pass, basically, that I make. Where is it now? I had it somewhere. Here it is.
Just like a mold.
Yeah, but I did, like this,
Sure. I mean, if you're making your own custom molds like that, that's perfect too, especially if you know how. Then
that's where my problem is, the mold. What should I
Sure.
make the mold out of? I mean, it needs to be metal, so I can at least.
Well, you can get a vacuum former too. I got Doc Mason if he comes around, or not Doc Mason, but we got another community member, Alup. He is all about casting cans into metal, and so it's I don't mean to like bust on him. Every other subject goes back to casting metal, which is just great.
You need to hook me up with him.
I'll send you a Discord link later if you're not already kicking around, but ultimately that's like his obsession. So
if he can make me a mold of this, if I send him the file, and he makes me a mold of this, I mean, I have so
He
much
is
filament.
looking for new things to do, and it would be very beneficial for him in his career moving forward to link up with you like that, because that's something that the two of you can talk, and you never know where things go.
Yeah. I know how it is. Thank you.
I think we should wear roll Ziltech filament.
Oh, hold on. I didn't enter.
Anybody that's watching in the U.S. can win this film, and if you're anywhere in the world, you can enter. You can win if you're present in chat when I draw your name, but it must go to a USA address. Ziltech is based out of Houston, Texas. They sell tons of filament. They even started producing some of their filament here in the U.S. They sell extrusion. Nice. If you're building a custom printer, you need custom extrusion, cut any length, they can do that for you. They're a great company. I'm an affiliate for them. And anyway, so they allow me to give away 3 rolls a month, and I've been doing that for quite a while. So we'll draw one person's name. If you haven't won in the last 2 months, you're eligible. If you've had one recently, have me redraw, because they don't like repeat winners, because they want to introduce their product to new people all the time and try to get more people on board ordering from them. They have awesome filament. I prefer Polymaker, but Ziltech is really good filament also. And we got 20 people entered. Once you have a winner, I'll put my email. Once we have a winner, I'll put my email in chat. Simply email me. Go to ziltech.com, pick out a type of filament, tell me what kind, and with your mailing address here in the U.S., I'll contact my rep. They'll mail it out Monday. You'll have it by next Friday. Okay. So anyway, here we go in 5, 4, 3, 2,
Again,
1.
last minute.
Come on, let it be me. Let it be me. Let it be me.
Nice.
You know what? I've never used a roll of Ziltech, so I will actually take that roll and try it out, Jerry.
Cool. Yeah, just go to ziltech.com. Here's my email and chat. They got ABS, they got dual color filament, they got a little bit of anything and everything.
Yeah, I've never used it, so I may as well try a roll of it, because part of the agreement that I have with Polymaker is that I use other filaments.
All right. Very cool. Congratulations.
Kevin, do you have your rainbow sculpture that you just did?
Actually, I do. It's in the kitchen. I can go grab it real quick.
Sure.
Yeah, give me a sec.
So Kevin does a lot of different, with pultrusion, you can do a lot of different experimenting. And so right now he is doing colorization. And Jerry, this is a good example of like using 5-liter water jugs for a bigger yield rather than, I call them chintzy because they're paper thin, but again, at the end of the day, the 5-liter water jugs are going to be the best bang for your buck. So Kevin's got an apparatus that colorizes them really easily. There are a lot of different colorization techniques, but he's been doing a great job demonstrating that.
Oh, that's pretty.
Oh, wow. That looks nice.
Very pretty.
Yeah, now that was all done with just permanent markers like Sharpie markers.
I was going to say, I must have really crap luck with that process, because I tried 3 different types of markers, including Sharpie branded. Never could get it to actually colorize properly.
Well, the one thing that I've found that kind of makes a difference, and I've done Sharpie markers. I've also bought a product called iDye Poly off of Amazon.
I think I remember when you posted about that.
Yeah, it works really great, but you got to let the dye cool a little bit. Otherwise, when you dip the ribbon in it, it wants to shrink up.
Yeah.
Which then makes it hard to pultrude, right?
Yeah.
And I recently tried some India ink and just swabbing it onto the plastic with a piece of felt. And that works really good too. But this one I did with all marker. But I will say certain colors, this is supposed to be red.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, the heating process always turns it this weird burnt umber orange color.
Huh.
But the blues and the greens and the yellows, they all come out really nice. Now, the one thing I do when I color this, I always color the inside of the bottle which becomes kind of the inside on my spool.
Yeah.
And then
So
as
it
I
shines
pull
through.
through it, I want that to be the inside of the filament.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't want all that marker contaminating the nozzle, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Kevin, are you drying your filament by chance?
No, I live in the desert.
Well, so it's like I ask because it's like anything else. Like we got into a debate the other day. You know, we had a
Hey,
student
Zombie.
that was
Happy birthday to Zombie,
Happy
everybody.
birthday, Zombie.
Happy birthday.
I told everybody about your live stream later, Zombie, after mine. You're going to be live on Twitch, and you're having a lot of giveaways.
So like anything
Nice.
else, if you're, you know, like people know that your filament's hygroscopic and PET 1
Yep.
is very, very, very hygroscopic. And so at the end of the day, for me in Massachusetts, my filament can have its own temperaments any given day.
Yep.
So yeah, Arizona, you guys luck out over there. So that's good to know. But like anything else, it's, you know, I like to dry it.
Most of the bottles that I use, we get from a friend of my wife, and they're all 1 gallon plastic water bottles. So they've been storing, they've been storing water forever. And I've had no issue with just pultruding it and taking it right to the printer. Now, maybe print temperatures and speeds make a difference too.
Yep.
To a degree, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It starts with a T. Me and Josh were talking about this a while back. It's an inline drying system that basically looks like a couple of V6 heat sinks with a heater block in the middle. They have a newer model that, you know, actually includes a desiccant, you know, tubing in the middle, but and I can't remember the name. I want stuff like Styra something. Anyway,
yeah, it's more or less just a preheating hot end element before
it just
you go to
slightly brings the temperature of the filament up a little bit, but below the glass transition. And what I'm thinking during the pultrusion, it's doing exactly that to your PET 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's after you've done that, while you're waiting to get enough to seam it together and have enough to print with, obviously it's sitting in the open air. That's the point where it starts taking on the moisture.
Hey, Zombie, pop in for a minute, promote your live stream and your birthday. I'd appreciate it. And then Kevin, Zombie Hedgehog is wondering how you got the rainbow. He doesn't realize that you're coloring water bottles, you're shredding them with the recreator, and then you're reprinting them, correct?
So the bottles that I get are 1 gallon bottles, and I've got caps, you know, with a Schrader valve in them. And I just very lightly pressurize them with an air compressor, maybe like 2 pounds. And then I put that Schrader valve in the chuck of a drill and real slowly turn it while I'm hitting it with a heat gun. And all of the texturing and everything smooths out. And once it's cooled, I take that cap off, cut the bottom off, take the marker, and then I have a little machine.
Zombie.
I have a little machine that I showed on TikTok the other day that I built. It's just made out of an Arduino, a stepper driver, and a stepper that just slowly turns the bottle. And I just grab the marker and make little small circles on the inside of the bottle. And I'll go, 2 or 3 inches down, then change color, a few more inches, change color. And then I'll do, like for this big vase, that was 5 bottles. So the color varied throughout. And then I joined them all end to end on that Slunaz FF1R, that filament joiner.
Did you print that in vase mode?
Yeah, that's in vase mode with a 0.8 millimeter nozzle.
Okay, so Bing 0.8 is fairly thick and it's not real flimsy and want to bust easily like it would a PLA, right?
Yeah, this is, and what I did in the slicer, generally my slicer settings, like for a 0.4 millimeter nozzle.
Let me interrupt for a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, Zombie Hedgehog, the birthday boy, is popping in.
Woo! Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Are you allowed to buy a beer yet?
Go ahead,
I'm waiting
Kevin.
for Kenny to say Mr. President.
So generally in my slicer, my line widths are a little bit wider than the nozzle size. Like for a 0.4 millimeter nozzle, my line width is 0.42. So for this, with the 8 millimeter nozzle, I went up to 0.86 line width. And when I started the print, I cranked up the flow rate to about 115%. So it made a really nice thick print, and it's really not flimsy at all.
Nice.
Nice.
I like that. Yeah, it's a great color. Where'd you say that was from?
I made this up. These are just Sharpie markers. Well, except for the yellow. I think the yellow is a brand called Marks a Lot, but all the rest are Sharpie.
Oh, okay.
Kevin does pet pultrusion.
Oh, okay. All right.
So we just kind of jumped in on that conversation and introducing new people from that community.
Yeah.
That's something I'll have
Anyway,
to get into.
Zombie, happy birthday.
Zombie. Yeah,
Thank you.
happy
Yes.
birthday. Are you old enough now to buy a beer?
Wow. I could have rented a car 2 years ago. Okay.
How old are you going to be, Zombie?
27.
You want to hear something really sad?
Want to trade
On June-
ages?
On June 12th, I'm going to be. On June 12th, I'm going to be 60, and that really sucks. Wow, 60.
60. I thought you were not a day over 40.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
buddy.
Time flies. Time flies
sure.
as you get older. The days just go flying by.
27 going on.
I'm
I bet.
turning 61 at the end of June, so
And June
My-
26th,
145.
66.
my whole plan right now involves going to doctor's appointments and filing for my Social Security.
Hopefully,
So,
I'll wait a
Zombie,
couple
what
years
are you
for
doing
that.
for your birthday? You got a live stream later? What's going on?
Oh boy. Do I ever? I got I think 12 sponsors lined up. Giveaway every 15 minutes until midnight. Starting 8 p.m. So that'll be fun.
Wow.
Just a little thank you to the community.
That's
You
awesome.
have the address of mine, right? So you can send me all the.
Yep. I got all your
Link?
info.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
I sure
Send it
do.
to me. It's not worth it to give it out over stream. Just send it to me. You know I will win.
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
what
doing
time
that
is
tonight
your
will
live-
be fun.
What time's your live
Live
stream
stream.
start?
8 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m.
Probably
Eastern.
5 p.m.
So
Pacific, I believe.
like 3.5 hours, something like that. I don't know how math works. It's coming right up.
Yeah.
Thank you
5
guys,
p.m.
birthday witches.
All right.
1 plus 1 makes 11.
Very cool.
Yep.
And
Working
my
on this. Scott, you know what this is, right?
Hey, you know what that's for? That's for printing your birthday cake on.
Actually, Scott, can I ask you a very personal question? What size are your balls attaching on the bed? Because I'm just guessing here.
Earmuffs.
I'm gonna say 4 millimeter, but anyway.
Yeah, I gotta figure it out. Because the bomb balls are like absolutely tiny.
Tiny balls, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
My poly dryer will be here sometime in June. They're out of stock, but I'll do my late review in June when I finally get one.
I'm giving away 2 of those tonight.
Oh, cool.
Global.
Right.
You could be one of the first ones to get it around the world.
So clue
So
the
when's this
uninformed.
stream? The stream's
What
4
was
hours.
that? What was that? First of all,
This?
for the uninformed, yeah.
This
what's
is
the
a
project?
It's like a
Delta
heat
bed.
Yeah.
It's a
Oh, a Delta
kinematic
bed?
bed.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
So-
rests on some balls on rods, and that allows for a little bit of expansion. 9 millimeter.
9
Okay, yeah, these are 9s. That's what the CAD was. So thank
yeah.
you.
It's
Yeah, I never had a
this right
Delta.
here.
So
It's this right here.
That thing. I got the.
yeah,
I
because
got
you
it
got to
mostly
yeah.
printed.
I've yet to pull the trigger on a Delta.
So is this the non-existent Delta, the one that we don't talk about?
Nope.
Yeah, it's the Voron. It's the Voron Delta.
It's a Doron Velta. Doron
It's a
Velta.
Voron
there you go.
Delta.
It's a Doron Velta.
Voron Delta.
I like that.
Don't screw with my dyslexia, guys. Okay, come on now.
Doing this one-handed. There we go.
Loving it.
It's actually an April Fool's joke, is what it is. The
Yeah,
real
but the best things happen.
Like that.
the
you
real
go.
story behind it was an April Fool's joke, and I just happened to wind up with.
Yeah.
So the guy that designed it originally, and then the guy that jumped in and did a lot of the CAD work and built the very first one is the one who built this one, and he gave it to Hector at Fabrico, but it wasn't working at Rocky Mountain. They weren't able to get it to print, and I didn't have time to mess with it there. Or let's just rephrase that. I should have went and looked at it, and I didn't. So Hector asked me to bring it home and get it printing, and all I had to do was run a bed mesh. It prints just fine. So it was just a matter of running a bed mesh. But the one thing I did discover, Zombie, and you're going to have to really watch this, is when it would run the bed mesh, the front of the bed, it literally, the bed mesh looked like this, with this being the front of the bed.
Interesting.
So what was happening is when it was trying to get all the way out here, because the probe sets to the back of the effector, when it was trying to get all the way out to the front of the bed, let me just move it over here and readjust cameras and stuff.
Live demo!
Because not only have I've never owned a Delta. I haven't even, haven't built one. I haven't owned one. This is my first ever Delta.
So when it would swing all the way out to the front here, to try to get out to the edge of the build plate, these pieces right here are making contact with the fan housing here, so it tips it.
Okay.
And it screws up the bed mesh. So what I had to do was I had to limit how far forward it could come. Let me adjust this camera down here. Sorry about the arms, guys. So what I had to do was adjust how far forward it comes when it's trying to make contact there, because at this point right here, those rods are making contact with that, and it's actually pushing it even further. So it's, it's putting everything in a bind, and it was just totally messing up the bed mesh.
Okay.
But
I wonder if that shroud can be edited to give it some more clearance.
I'm thinking it could, because the fan is small enough that somebody could probably take in the CAD and put some little notches in here to clearance it. I just haven't messed with the CAD file on it yet. I'm actually working on Dragster CAD files at the moment. So, but yeah, that was what I discovered is when it would come out there, it was causing the bed mesh to look like that piece of paper. It was coming out and then it was going straight up, and it was because that was contacting that. And as soon as I adjusted it back where it wasn't making contact anymore, the bed mesh came out within a couple thousandths. So, because that's a Mandela Roseworks bed, you're not going to get anything any flatter than one of those.
Yeah. Mine's even I got the magnet version. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, this isn't the magnet version, but
should work just as good. Yeah.
Anyway, that's something to keep in mind is making sure when you're doing your bed mesh that these right here aren't contacting the effector here, because that will definitely mess it up.
Zombie, if you want, share your channel link in the private chat, and I'll post it.
Sure.
Yeah, I've been working also in CAD this week, and I've been doing some drone tasks, and what I'm showing you is not my design, but it will be similar looking to this.
Ooh.
And it should be able to fly this direction and that direction.
What is this for?
It's
a drone.
Oh, okay.
It's a racing drone, I would say.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
I've seen ones like that, obviously, because I was playing around with drones, just little cheap retail ones a while back. But I was watching a lot of videos on them, and they showed one like that.
Yeah, this one is not my design, but my design looks similar to that because I need something visual, when I see something and I say, oh, is that my work? And I should make this myself. And, but this is just too small for me. I want bigger ones. So,
Matt, you need robust as well as lightweight, have you tried TPU?
I was told this thing goes between 150 and 250 kilometers an hour.
Wow.
And the G-forces is up to 8 G when it turns around.
So Pet 1 would be a really good robust material if you're especially in the higher altitudes where it might be a little warmer, you know. Does it get a little warmer or a little colder?
It's also a little
Pretty
bit dense.
careful.
It's a little bit more dense, though. It's a little bit more dense. I know that they make a PLA, I think it is, that is almost aerated. It aerates itself. That's used for, you know, like aeronautical type things like model planes and such. And supposedly it's pretty strong as well.
Yeah, I use Polylite for it. So because Polylite is basically perfect.
Well, if you see Polymaker's advertisement for their Polylite or their lightweight PLA for the airplanes, the Yellow Cub, I built that plane.
Yep.
So
I was
Can
thinking,
you
I see
Neil?
that on the Facebook ads.
we need.
Is
I need
is
to
PLA
know
available?
questions anyway. Edge of 3D. I need to ask you anyway a few questions about what size of model what kind of motors I should get and what kind of brain. And I do want to put a GPS device inside so I know if it goes down where it is exactly rough area, you know. So, or maybe I thought about to put an air tag inside so if everything else fails on the drone that I can take my phone and say, here you go, they're over there, you know.
Hey, Scott, Edge of 3D, what do you think about the small planes that are coming out having ballistic parachutes on the back of them in case they get in trouble? They can deploy it and float to the ground. I see at least once in California it worked out. But
my Piper Cruiser has a ballistic chute on it. Got a big red handle right in the middle of the dash. You just pull the pin and yank the handle, and it blows the chute. And it's got a cradle that cradles basically the fuselage and lets you go all the way to the ground. Knock on wood, I haven't had to try it out yet, but it's there. So
it's something like that, like what, $20,000-$30,000 to add, something like that.
Well, I have no idea. It's because the plane itself, my plane was designed with that, you know, originally. So it's
okay.
Standard equipment on the plane. It's not an additional add-on, but
okay.
And any landing you walk away from is a good one, right?
There you go.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
And, you know, planes go a lot faster nowadays, but you know, back in the old days, like the Boeing Stearman, the PT-17 Cadet, they used to always say that if you hit the ground at anything less than a 30-degree nose down angle, you're going to walk away from it. But Stearmans also didn't fly fast enough to do a lot of damage when they hit the ground. But you know, planes we got nowadays, you can make a smoking hole. But yeah, like I say, my Piper Cruiser has it came with a ballistic chute. I mean, that's a standard equipment on it. And there's just right in the center of the instrument panel, right down at the bottom, just ahead of where the throttle's at. There's a pull handle there, and it's got a safety pin in it. And you're supposed to pull the safety pin as part of your pre-flight, but I never pull the safety pin. I just leave it in there. If things go sideways and I need to pull that handle, I can get that safety pin out of there. But I don't want somebody in the passenger seat screwing around and pulling on it to see what it does, and all of a sudden we blast the chute at 150 mile an hour.
So, and then it rips off.
Hey Jack, how you doing, bud?
It doesn't rip off, but it'll slow you suddenly, and you know, you only have one choice at that point. You're gonna cut the engine and float down to the ground, and the plane, you know, it's not a soft landing by any stretch. I've seen multiple videos of people that have had to use them, and it's not a soft landing, but it's a landing that you'll walk away from. The plane may be destroyed, but your life will be spared, and that's first and foremost. No piece of aluminum tube is worth somebody's life. I don't care if it's a $5,000 ultralight or a $50 million business jet. It's not worth anybody's life. So you know, there's been lots of cases of people that have walked away. And then the new Cirrus jet, it's a little single jet engine, 5-seater, but you really can't put 5 people in it. It's kind of weight limited. That one actually has a button up between the pilot seat and the passenger seat, the front and the rear seat. There's a button right here, and it's a return to home button. And if the pilot should become incapacitated or whatever, all somebody's got to do is reach up and slap that button, and the plane will go back and land where it took off from, provided it's got enough fuel to get there. But
Clear,
So
there's
let's say
clear runway.
And
the
the plane
question-
needs, what about
the
the plane
question is
needing clearance to land? It's just going to come in, try to land automatically without clearance, right?
So the minute you smack that button, the transponder in the aircraft goes to a 7700, which is an emergency. So everybody with access to a radar and ADS data will know the plane is in an emergency situation. So even without any communication from the aircraft, any controlled airport, like right here in Wichita where I'm at, the approach controllers, the tower controller, Kansas City Center controllers, they'll all know that airplane is in an emergency situation. And at that point, the controllers jump into action to get people out of the way. You know, they can see where the plane is going, the speed, and everything else. So their job then is to get people out of the way. Now, obviously, you still have aircraft flying around that aren't talking to controllers and stuff, but most all aircraft now, except there's some exceptions. Some of the older ones that don't have electrical systems don't have to have the ADS-B transponders. But any modern aircraft right now has ADS-B, which has basically you have a scope in there, and it's different on different planes. But you know, the standalone is your standard instrument size scope, and it'll give you anything that's within your area. It'll ping them on that scope, and it'll give you an altitude relation to where they're at. So, you know, it'll have an arrow up at 1,000 feet, which means they're 1,000 feet above you. You know, there's different data. Like in my Piper Cruiser, it actually comes up on my GPS screen, which is a fairly large screen, and I can see every aircraft that's putting out an ADS-B signal. Tells me where they're at in relation to where I'm at, and if it calculates that there's a possibility of a interference, it will throw up all kinds of alerts, very loud alerts. It'll blast your eardrums. I mean, it'll lift the headsets off if it gets so loud. And it'll tell you.
There's a show I used to like to watch. I've seen them on YouTube. I don't remember what other network they were on, called Airplane Repo, where those guys have repo planes. Those are really, really cool to watch, where they basically got to break into the airport and try to get on the plane and try to get it off the ground.
There's a lot of Hollywood BS there, Jerry.
Yeah.
You know,
one of the guys
I know airplane repo people, and they don't go out and hire these big oofs to stand at the door and guard for them and stuff. You know, there's a whole lot of Hollywood bullshit there. So, but
question.
You know, there's
so if you're 80%, 90% on the way, and you press that button, would you then turn around to the same airport where you started from, or would it choose?
See, I don't know. I don't have any experience with the Cirrus jet, Matt. My assumption is that it's going to use its GPS and onboard navigation and the maps and everything that it has stored in, and it's going to find the closest suitable airport and land it there. I know in testing, they've just done it from the airport they've departed from. They departed, they got up to, you know, an altitude of 5,000 feet above ground level, and they've hit the button and made a return landing to where they started from. But because, yeah, you know, if you've only got enough fuel on to fly, say, 1,000 miles, and you're 600 miles into the flight, and the pilot has a heart attack, and you reach up and smack that button, and it tries to turn around and fly back 600 miles, you're going to run out of gas, and then it's going to use the ballistic chute and crash. So, but I'm not that familiar with it. I just know that's a feature on them now, and like I say, I can't speak to exactly how it works. Other
they
than
must have some kind of smart AI inside to distinguish, you know, what is closest, and then go to that location, like you said.
Well, you every time you, like, we all use iPads now, and every time you fire up the iPad, you download the latest databases, and that gives you all your current restrictions and stuff like that, and any changes to, you know, say they put up a set of power lines out here at the end of a runway that weren't there the last time, that sort of stuff. But that database is accurate, and the GPSs are now accurate to within a centimeter.
Wow.
So that system can look at, you're here, there's an airport here, according to the data that it has on this airport, the runway is long enough and suitable for this aircraft, and it will direct it there. That would be my guess as to how it works. But again, I'm not rated in a Cirrus. I have zero time in one. I have no idea exactly how the system works. I just know it's there. And
I mean, my idea, or what I think how it would work is each airport have a transponder, like a beacon. And I believe it might be working through the beacon system that it basically goes to the nearest beacon, you know?
Well, there's now airports that have instrument landing systems. They have different types of directional equipment to guide airplanes in for ILS landings and stuff like that. But honestly, GPSs are so accurate nowadays that I hope nobody from the FAA's listening. But I mean, when we're landing the Gulf Streams, we don't use the ILS is up and it's functioning. We don't pay any attention to that. We use the GPS. The accuracy on the altitude and the tracking on the GPS is so incredibly accurate that legally we're supposed to switch the autopilot over to fly the the ILS approach.
That's what I wanted to do too.
We don't.
Sebastian
We don't
just
do
say.
it. We leave it on GPS guidance and let the GPS fly it in. And
My,
like I said,
I'm not sure what kind of a plane it was, but my uncle spent 30-something years building a plane from the time I was a little kid. Like from World War One, it had two wings and one person sat behind another one. I'm not sure what kind of a plane that is.
well, there was lots of those, Jerry. They're biplanes. The Stearman trained more military pilots than any other aircraft in history for World War II. And
they've gotten. Evidently, the motor he put in it, the test pilot, when he finished it 30 years later, told him it's way too heavy for the plane and he shouldn't fly it. Well, my uncle, he was in his late 50s when it happened, around 57. He did fly it, and he took off from the North Las Vegas airport, flew out over Jean, Nevada, headed towards California, and witnesses from he flew it 7 times. And witnesses from the highway, or what was assumed, is that for some reason he tried to land in the dry lake bed. He had trouble. Well, when he was found and the plane was found, because he didn't have any reference points in the dry lake bed, nothing was near him. Well, they're assuming he came in too steep, which snapped his front struts. The plane done a nosedive, flipped over, crushed his tail, snapped his neck, and he was in the rear seat. And he was propped up in the rear seat. So evidently, it's assumption is he came in too hard, like I say, which snapped the 2 struts, which had the wheels on it. Nosedive, flipped over, snapped his neck, and that's how he died at 57.
Well, landing on a snow-covered runway, that's my nemesis. I absolutely hate landing on snow. If the ground's white, the runway's white. Some guys are not bothered by it, but me, I'm terrible with it, and
you get white out.
It's not white out. I lose spatial references to where I'm at above the runway. You got the people in the back paying $6,000 an hour for this plane ride, and you you flare too high and slam it onto the runway and spill their drink. You don't get your tip at the end of the flight.
There's no depth perception with all
the
wireless control kit. Oh yeah.
So my next video will be on the wireless controller.
Nice. Toys.
Well, I also made a stand for the drone.
Scott, did you ever watch Mountain Men?
Nah, I don't recall ever watching it.
So you don't know Marty the Trapper that always flew his plane and did the snow landings and all that? Yeah.
I've not. It doesn't sound familiar, but I've seen lots of shows where they, like Ice Airport Alaska, and some of the other, the Jim Tweedo's show where his daughter Ariel Tweedo, Jim passed away here a year ago. He I
remember the Tweedos. They were on one of the shows.
Okay, well, Jim died. Jim died in a plane crash here a year ago, trying to.
That sucks. That's a nice family. That's a nice family.
Yeah, and But I've watched it. Like I say, it's always I've been flying. I mean, I started flying with my dad before I was old enough to walk. So, you know, as soon as I was old enough to hang on to the controls, he would let me pretend I was flying the airplane. So I grew up in it. But
you're
snow has
fortunate.
always been my nemesis. If the runway is snow covered and the ground is snow covered, it's not going to be a pretty landing. We'll get on the ground, but if we might arrive a little too soon or a little too late, and it's just I don't know what it is. That's one of those things that
Scott, you're a fortunate man. I'm going to tell you why. You got to fly with your father. My father was a World War II pilot that delivered paratroopers in Normandy. This is God honest truth. He later drank himself to death, and we lost him when I was 2.5.
Wow.
Well, I just lost my father back on March 17th. He passed away at 96, but that was my dad's business. I mean, he was
My
in
father
aviation.
looked like Clark Gable. One of his pilot pictures, you know, brown and white pilot pictures, spitting image of Clark Gable.
Yeah, my dad died when I was 17. He was 57 at the time. He was a World War II veteran.
Yeah, Dad made it to 96.
I was 2.5 though.
He just passed away here a couple months ago, but you know, I don't make no bones about it. I mean, I grew up. I was very fortunate as a child growing up, and I had a nice upbringing, and you know, had I had to go out and pay for flying lessons like most other people have to, or not gone through the military to get or something like that, I would have never became a pilot. But we had airplanes, and that was considered normal in my family, and you know, so I'm very fortunate that I got to come up through the ranks that way and got to learn to fly from my dad in his aircraft, and I didn't have to pay for any of it. So, you know, it's. Do
you have a runway on any of your properties, or have you ever had a runway on your property?
Yeah, our farm out in western Kansas. You can still see what's left of the runway on Google Earth, but it's south and just a little bit east of Deerfield, Kansas. You'll find a farm out there, and just across the road from the main farm buildings and everything, you can see what's left of where the runway used to be. But yeah, we had a paved 4,000-foot runway out there at the farm, and airplane hangar right there at the farm. So
cool.
Well, since I'm a whirly-bird crew chief in the Army.
Till next week.
Take care.
Taking off, Pat.
Take care.
Have a great day, my friend. Keep up the great videos. You're doing great.
I've got to take off as well. I was up early this morning. I need to grab a nap. I got a gig that I have to go to tonight.
Well, thank you for dropping in, Kevin. It's great seeing you. You're always welcome.
Yeah. Thanks, Josh.
Good
I'll
seeing
be
you, Kev.
talking to you more, my man.
Yeah,
man.
Thank Kevin. It was
Thanks
nice
for
meeting
stopping
you. Sorry, jumped in here and kind of took over the conversation. Took away from 3D
It's
printing.
been interesting.
Hey,
What it
Scott,
is,
you have
man.
some of the best stories. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
The comments are blowing up, Scott. Everybody likes the pilots and stuff. So
at some
It
point,
always
Josh, I
starts
want
with
to
a
have
drone.
To the angels. Anyways,
at some point,
Scott.
Josh, I want to have a lengthy conversation about filament width. You know, we were talking about the math for filament width or the ribbon width.
yeah, no doubt.
Let's do some math. Oh.
I find, man, like I've got like probably a 5th grade level of like math, but I got like a 70%. If you come in with that 30, we can talk
we're
shop.
good.
All right, man.
All right,
Appreciate you.
guys. You
Keep
guys
it up,
have a
dude.
good weekend.
Ask her the math question.
I'm good at math. I can bring
I'm
you
head
up
out too. I get ready for my stuff tonight, so I'll
Happy
see you guys.
birthday,
Nice
dude.
chatting. Thank you. See you guys tonight.
Lives here, man.
Ha.
Bye.
Take care,
All
guy.
right. All right.
So math.
Yeah.
You guys want a math? It's just at the end of the day, like so I try to make like Recreator, like I call it the 90% ish, you know. So my math isn't like correct at all, and at the end of the day, we shoot for things that again ish, and
that's what
so
I do too.
there's variations of the ish that I can talk about, and when it comes down to it, I like to shoot for 90% and try to get everybody else to do that too. Amongst pultrusion people, I would say there's a good 20% of people that are either they want to do it or they're convinced that it needs to be 100% filled. So when we shoot for the 90%, we're going to end up with like a circular tube, like a straw. It's going to have some hollowness to it, but that's where we compensate with just our flow cubes. So if you just make a flow cube, it's literally the easiest way to calibrate any kind of like hybrid custom pet that you're or filament that you're protruding. Again, it's the diameter. As long as the diameter of your nozzle is, I like to say 1.73-ish, shooting for 7.3. Allow, some people want that 1.75 and they'll get that drill bit. They can get a drill bit that is 1.75, but it will likely blow out into a 1.8. And the second that we go into the 1.8, you risk having that potentially getting clogged in a variations and variety of nozzle throats. So we want to avoid that. And so if we shoot under rather than over, and then just retolerance our extruder width and flow rates, you will get the best tolerance out of that material. Excuse me, because...
But couldn't you solve that problem by, in steel manufacturing, they use guide rails to make it thinner. So if you have the guide rails warm, it should basically create like a little, and you don't push it through fast.
I know what you're talking about like you would do with the icing things for cakes, where it has like a funnel shape and it literally helps pre-form it.
That too, but you have rollers too to compress it even further to keep it in shape, and like in steel rolling, like you put it through this diameter first to make it then through the next smallest diameter to make it smaller. You understand?
So in other words, after it's been pultruded, have an additional set of rollers to additionally compress.
Yes.
That maybe, but the only problem I see there is that when it's first pultruded, if it's perfectly the right strip width, you will get a perfect straw. I've actually got a piece that I used as a little sheath for the nozzle cleaning needle, so I didn't poke a hole in the finger. Yeah. So, and it's a perfect hole in the middle. But if you compress it further with a heated roller, it depends on the temperature of that roller, because that's going to be a very fine point.
Yeah, it needs to be at least 160, maybe 175, maybe 80.
Yeah.
And then I believe you should be able to pull through the roller slowly. But if you do it too fast, you will have a wave behind it.
Well, not only that, but the possibility you might turn your perfect straw into basically an at, where you have a spiral like a jelly roll.
And eventually you're going to wear out your nozzle and have to replace it. But unless you don't think it'd wear out a nozzle eventually?
Pet One doesn't really like it. Like that, I have used the same nozzle for almost 3 years, and I've had no degradation from just how it protrudes. So, at the end of the day, I need to ask a couple questions for everybody here today. So, amongst us right now, who likes to tinker?
Me? Well, I do. You know that.
So everybody's a tinkerer, right?
Nope.
Nope. All right. Nope. Someone said nope. And so for me, the biggest thing that I want to do is I from the get-go of my own journey wanted to use this material, wanted to make this material, and I had no quick, easy way to be able to do it. And so I watched some other streamer the other day, and they called themselves a dunce, and I resonated with that so much because at the end of the day, there's a dummy guide for a reason. And so I have a hard time, again, I get to that 70% on a lot of things in my life to where I then hit a wall of understanding, and I like to, you know, piggyback or have somebody come in and, you know, and work with me and mentor me for that extra 30% where they're bringing in their skill set. And a lot of us just need that handheld in life sometimes, and that's really what makes a mentor and a guru to somebody that, you know, just has that one step up from their own antics. And so for me, I wanted to be able to get people into Pet One hitting the ground running. And for me, that was the best way to say, like, this is the ish variant. And it's not everybody's cup of tea. Some people need that absolute understanding and perfection of I call it the 100% club. They don't want any straw. They want complete infill, but that is not what Pet One is able to do. Pet One's so robust. There is so variant of an ability to have it stretch before it will break, and there's no amount of magic to it. Like people need to. A lot of people get caught up on the fact that they are thinking either like how PLA stretches or how other materials stretch, PETG. We got to take the glycol out of the mix when we talk about it, you know, but then there's variations of PET. There's the PET 1, and then there's the PET E. And the PET E is it's more of a stretch. It is more of a malleable, and it is more on the, you know, variance of, is this possibly recycled already? And to go full circle where I was earlier, I was talking about Snapple bottles. And thank you, Kenny. You know, that's a Coca-Cola bottle right now. It is likely had, you know, hopefully, you know, the 2035 initiative is a full circle thing, global.
I like that
they own a variety of brands. Say again, Matt?
Just taste. I like if they would like to. I like that they go back to glass because Coke tastes so much better out of glass.
That's you know, that's a classic nostalgia thing, I'm sure, for you, and that might be a degree of truth as far as how it's preserved in glass. Glass does, correct me if I'm wrong, is glass porous? Does glass absorb? Is glass a sponge?
No.
Pet One is. And so at the end of the day, if you don't clean and dry the Pet One, I've had soda taste, it emits a vanilla smell when I pull Trude.
By the way, this is not bad. Try it. This is the new one, the spiced raspberry.
Spice?
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm not a soda drinker.
Sure.
But me and the wife came in Arizona yesterday, and on the way back, anyways, we stopped by and I seen this. I'm going to try it, and it's not bad. You want to see
Kenny,
Josh? Go ahead.
You know what you ought to do is make sure the lid's on really tight, shake it up really good, then take the lid off real fast.
Yeah, right. But Josh, talking about recycled though, this plastic.
We'll put the Mentos in.
No, just hear me out for a second, because you got on the thing about, you know, plastic bottles and drinks. This bottle, as far as a consumer, you know, me being the consumer, this bottle feels so damn flimsy versus the old bottles. It feels really flimsy.
Well, as a consumer, what does that bring to your lifestyle? I don't know.
It just feels
would
flimsy.
You rather the weight of a glass bottle because it makes you feel that it's got more value to it as a container that you could possibly reuse or recycle? And
companies
then
make things thinner and they jack up the price to have more profit.
And so now, Kenny, we got to talk about weight. You're not going to get somebody to ship that weight across globally when the glass cost or weight adds to the freight. And so plastic is less. But now as a consumer, what are your recycling options for that bottle? Do you get 5 or 10 cents?
I don't.
In Germany, I believe you get like a pound or two.
In California, they recycle plastic stuff. I think, but I don't hear.
In Kansas, we put it in the dump.
I can walk around my neighborhood on recycling day, and I can fill 2 trash bags with literally 2 K's worth of filament if I processed it. And so for me, that's a 5 a.m. where I'm actually fighting several other people who are collecting cans primarily, but they're also getting the PET bottles. And so again, one trash is another treasure. To think I only get 5 cents, someone else gets 10, and others just say, well, that 5 cents is trash to me. I don't value 5 cents. And I again, the bamboo weight that I've been getting, I've been driving an hour. That cost me gas and my time to go get, but I, at the end of the day, run numbers for someone else's business, and they're literally throwing away 60K in bamboo waste, and that's not waste to them. That's just part of business.
Josh, I'm gonna pipe in on something just because I've been watching the chat. Obviously, it's regarding
thank you. I haven't been paying attention to that at all. So
cost effectiveness of doing PET pultrusion versus just buying filament. Yes, there are some
trade-offs. You can buy
trade-offs,
2K
obviously.
right now. Amazon just had it. Some company just came out with 2K worth of PET 1 filament. I don't know how it's being processed, but it's labeled as PET 1. $60 USD, free shipping.
There you go.
Off
Yeah,
Amazon.
and this is the thing.
I would charge somebody 120 for 2K because that's my time and effort. Like, and just it's gold to me. It's gold.
Well,
it's a personal filament.
Well, let me just go in on this.
Out, guys. I got to go get my smoker running. So
okay, man.
Thank you, Paul. Have a great weekend, my friend.
Enjoy the smoke.
Take care.
Huh?
Yep.
What's he smoking?
I found
smoking a pork butt, a beef brisket, some steaks, and some chicken.
Right over. Hey, Scott, before you go, I did want to tell you, back in the 70s, I did have plans to build a gyrocopter. And I almost thought about doing it. And I know a roofer buddy that did. And he used to go
It's never too late. Build a Benson gyrocopter. They're a hell of a lot of fun. I got a friend that built one, and she flies the hell out of it.
Yeah. Well, coming from Southern California, he flew down the LA river bed all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a friend. She built a Benson gyrocopter from plans, all from scratch, and she flies the hell out of it all the time. In fact, she flies from a private flying field here about 3 miles from my house. I see her all the time out here flying around. So, anyway,
one seater or two?
It's a single seater. She built it as an ultralight. So,
yeah, an ultralight with a wing would be safer in case you lost power. You could glide down quickly. Where if you have a gyrocopter, you lose momentum, you're going to fall like a rock.
Yep, the gyrocopters, and then out of that same flying field that she flies out of, there's a whole bunch of guys with the powered parachutes, and you see them flying around all the time too. So, anyway, I got to go, guys. I got to get this started because I got people coming over here in 3 hours for dinner.
Good chat.
See you guys.
See you, man.
Peace.
Now, to get back on what I was saying, I looked up because me and Josh had a very big discussion privately at one point about PET filament. Because I saw the arguments in his Facebook group. It was
private.
Yeah,
don't tell everyone.
I saw the arguments in the Facebook group, and the big contention was I want solid in the middle. I don't want something that has a hole that I have to up my flow rate, this, that, and the other. So I went to looking to see if there was something in the market. Was there a filament made of PET1 that you could buy? Because that was the other big argument that, I can buy PETG for, $20 a roll, if not less if I buy it in bulk. And so I went to looking, and I'm here in the UK, and the cheapest and only one place that had it at the time, they wanted 60 pounds. So you're talking like $70. Yeah.
It's
and it was only one
high grade material.
Well,
how much does ASA go for?
This is what I'm saying is that
how much is
it was yeah, but to see that's now we're moving into an even higher material. At least people understand PET.
Because it's at the base of it.
We know it's PET with a bit of glycol. Obviously, lowers the melting temperature, but obviously PET. After using it myself, me and Josh have bounced back and forth because I've been with the Recreator project since early days. Yeah.
Going on 3 years almost.
And I printed some of the parts for it using some of that filament, especially the part sitting under the plate that holds the hot end, because that was my big contention is that hot end will leak, do heat creep, and it will heat that plate, and it will slowly loosen the bolts that hold it in place. When I printed it with PET, regular PET1 that was pultruded filament, that was a rock. it no longer had that problem. It's the same thing that people find when they're making, I don't know, the clockwork extruders. They have a hot motor like I did. I moved to nylon because it could take, a motor that was sitting there reaching almost 100 C until I found a cooling solution. Yeah. The same thing with PET is that it can take a lot more heat and not deform. Yeah. So is it worth your time to just buy it, or is it worth, taking the time, stripping the bottle, pultruding it, and running it through a printer, even if you have to use a filament runout sensor because you don't want to spend on a joiner? That's something that only the person can, say. You have to figure out what your time is worth. If
We get
you
into
feel your time is
lifestyle
worth more
choices
than
at that
somebody
point.
else, yeah, it's really about how much do you think your time is worth, and somebody else may think their time is worth what the time and effort they put in to have that grade of filament.
So
And
I
that's
don't
all there
like
is
to
to it.
talk about the social classes, but like really, the Pet 1 and pultrusion in general is just like a great sociology 101. Just as far as where social classes are, and just where you are at, you're either low income or you're take my money, I don't care. And so for a lot of people, they have to value where their money goes into. And so like I was just trying to get one of our power users to come in, Joe, and he does some phenomenal examples of what someone can do with their time if they've got the time and desire and efforts to put into it. He strips all day, he pulls all day, and then he turns around and he puts all that weight, 3 to 6 pounds worth of PET, into 3-foot sculptures, stuff that would come out of like Luban, that he just scales up to 400% or 500% from modelers that I've invested in with him just to see what he'll do next. I'm like, what model do you want next? I'll buy it for you just because I want to see what he'll do next. I don't have the time to play as much as my community members do, and I'm to the point where I'm just show me what you guys got.
Looks like an air tag.
This will
fun.
be soon released on Luban. I've been developing a two-sided.
Nice.
And
is that like a new feature?
That's an NFC. That looks like an NFC tag.
Right now, you only can do one side, but my method, you can do both sides.
So great tie-in, Matt. This is a great hey, you can do this about Luban. Luban is phenomenal because at any given point you can come up with an idea as someone who's in that community, and you can say, hey, Luban, can it do this? And usually it'll be like, no, not kinda, but give me a week. And then it's implemented for the next upgrade that everybody benefits from. So buy it early, buy it now, get in while you're good, because it's just gonna keep going up and getting better, and that's why.
And it's getting faster too.
Yes.
Question for you, Dale and Josh. The filament, what you guys talked about with a hollow tube inside, why not fill it out with another type of filament like PLA, and then actually have
we did try that. I tried that. I did actually try that. In fact, to try and fill the gap, I was actually tweaking extruded PET G. So I was literally telling my printer, just extrude me a little filament 0.04. Yeah. And I was feeding it along with the strip to try and fill that center.
Yeah, I think I've seen Mike
kind of
do
works.
that.
Yeah, and it kind of works, but what you end up then with is when you finally print that, now you have you're printing at the temperature of PET 1. You're cooking whatever's inside of it.
Yeah, my thinking is two type of material together in one and then print it.
You guys see this like blip there? It kind of looks like it's spurting out. Yeah. It looks like irregularity. There we go. All right, so I put in here, I should have put in here a PP thread. So just a thread that you would get for fabric. And so at heat, that thread in your nozzle for printing at 260 would turn into your PET material enough to print it correctly. I used in this pull a gift wrap, like it's almost like a foil. It's still in the PP range, but because of the foil, it's how thin it is. It got extremely messy. And to the point where I should, funnily enough, be able to take some HDPE, as we all know is now what our declogging material for that we can get cheaply and just use for cold pulling or the breeze in our nozzle. So we can make that on our own if we do it correctly. But I'll probably run some through to get this material to come out, because otherwise I'm just going to have to strip it all out and probably torch it cherry it red. So yeah, like if you go with more of the PP range of a felted material, it can fill in and help with the internal expansion that everybody. So I have a question for everybody. I don't know how I'll get it out of my mouth, but I'll just say it. So like if and why you're held up with the fact that you would have to change your flow to compensate. Like a lot of people get held up on the fact that we're using the hollowed core material and able to do it, and they don't want, for some reason, to compensate with their slicer for their flow. They just want the 100% out of the material so that they can just hit like a generic setting and just hit print without any thought. When in fact, like I feel that like I don't like to profile all my filament. It's easier to hit a generic setting, but I've gotten some amazing tolerances by changing the flow for each one of these brands. A Coke bottle versus your water bottle, Jerry, versus a jug that Kevin was using. I'm trying to build a printer, and we all know our tolerances need to be very accurate for some parts that are designed with that. And so if you're not doing flow, just even on your general filament that is 100% on a variance of a day where, again, you got your hygroscopic stuff that's coming in and you're like, oh, I gotta come in here and dry this out because now my pet G's stringing where I wish it wasn't, and it wasn't yesterday, but now it is today.
I mean, pet G is similar to ABS temperature, right?
No, it's much lower. ABS usually is a little bit higher unless you go with like easy ABS.
Switch to Dale, I need a break.
Mixed it down. Yeah, there you go. Easy ABS, for example, they add additional mixes into it to lower the temperature, just like they do with PET. They add glycol. It drops the melting extrusion temperature, obviously down into ranges that most printers can handle. Normal full ABS is around 250.
But wouldn't you be able to change the recipe just by grinding it up and then introducing other material into it to have?
See, now you've just gone off pultrusion though. Now you're going into extruded filament, because if you have to grind anything, you've just went into extrusion.
Which, like, honestly, I don't know why we don't have more extrusion hoppers and stuff like that, just in general. And it's like anything else now. This, again, you can take a coffee grinder, grind up your poops, and if you had a hopper head, cheaply and affordably, which the more people that are working with it, if Bamboo turned around and made an augered head that could fit on any machine, oh, boom, boom. Mic drop.
I got a bag. I save all my bamboo poop. I got a bag I keep it in, and I have a little toaster oven. I have my sister picked up at Goodwill, and I was going to melt it down into molds that I bought off Amazon of skulls. I haven't done it yet. And people that wonder, even if your filament that you're creating, even if just hypothetically it costs $5 a roll, people are like, well, why wouldn't you buy it? It's because you're taking a product that you're putting in a landfill and throwing away. You're taking a bunch of machinery that you build by hand, and you're learning, and you're creating something new rather than just throwing it away and buying it, and then you have more in a landfill. It gives you something to do.
How about even better than that? How about even better than that? Using that example, like with the poops, obviously you're getting your money's worth out of something you already paid for the material.
Yeah.
Well, so I wanted to talk with Kenny. So again, like you're talking about a bottle. When you buy a product, soda, a drink, what are you buying?
You're buying basically the bottle and the content.
And so then if you've invested that money, right? And so do you now say I can redeem this and possibly get a fraction of what that company charged you in their bottom line to get you their liquid?
Yeah.
And so now what do you, if you can say this is 5 cents, or some things that you can't even get 5 cents for, it's just trash, but now you can say like, wow, I just got 100 grams off of that 5-liter jug that would have been trash otherwise. That's your next project. That's your next print. And not just your next print, your like robust print, like something that can go weather resistant, water resistant, heat, so it's something that can be outside and inside. If you print it with, as we know, more walls and more good infill, it gets even better. Stefan went to the extent of annealing it, baking it, which then
I
ups
saw that.
even, I think, to a third in strength. I could be wrong with the third, but even going to the second, it's just a fraction above it. If it's comparing to, again, like going into ASA and peak, it's at the base of that where it's more robust than ABS. And so even PETG, it's a miracle filament that comes out of your trash, and it's very. I wish Kev was still here because he fights a lot of people. He just doesn't fight them, but he mentioned how, again, like you can't convince people if they don't want to be convinced. If they don't want to see something and they don't want to believe in something, there's only so much talk that you can do to get someone to believe something, especially after you've shown them.
Yeah, Sebastian's talking about, buying cheap filament, but we're not talking about PLA. But if we were talking about PLA, let's just say you're taking a product that you're throwing away, you have a bunch of computer parts, and inexpensively, basically, you're creating something where you're making your own filament. And sure, it's a whole hobby in itself, but you created it yourself from something you were going to throw away, or you can just go buy filament. It depends what you want to do with your time. How young are you? How old are you? What do you want to do with your time? If you like to create and tinker and make things, it's perfect. But if you just want to buy filament, sure, you can do that too.
We had Mitch in here. Mitch brought up a phrase that was new to me. It's almost like the
yeah, here in Vegas, you don't get recycling. You throw it away. The garbage man, they recycle it. California, you can return in bottles for money. A lot of states do that. They don't do that here in town. So I guess it depends on your area where you live at. If you can turn your stuff in and make $20 a week recycling, then that might be better for you. It depends on your environment and your waste and your time, and there's a lot of things to look at.
So and also in California, they charge you 10 cents. Like if you go to Wally World, they charge you 10 cents in California for a bag.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
that's normal.
When you go to Wally World, 10 cents a bag.
It costs, man. It's like it's a product.
To be fair, they do the same thing here in the UK. I think it's actually 20 pence now. And it's to try and reduce. Yeah, they're doing it for the reusable, the bags for life, as per se, to try and encourage people to take single-use plastics and keep reusing them. Don't just use it and then use it for a bin bag.
It's an expense and then a campaign on their own. That's where it's at.
Yeah.
Like, and so at the end of the day, like, is the community going back to that brand and saying be better? And then they're like, okay, well, we're being better now, but hey, that cost you 10 cents. Like, it costs you 10 cents to be better. Like,
I remember in Germany when it was.
A lot of stores starting to go back to paper bags and get rid of plastic because of all the waste, and they don't break down fast enough. And years ago, as everybody knows, everybody had a paper bag. You could only carry 2 bags, one in each arm. Where if you have plastic bags, you can zing them up on both arms, and you can take 20.
That's what
Take
my
20
wife
in the house
does.
at once. Take 20 in the house at
Or
once.
you can
And
go on
Walmart
printables
bags,
and get the bag carrier.
and then Walmart bags got even thinner, where if you don't double bag, you tend to break them, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know.
I know in Germany when I was a kid, I used to collect bottles, and I used to get per bottle £1 or $1. And what happened is, when you go to the store and buy a Coca-Cola or Fanta, whatever you want to drink, you pay the price of the Coke plus $1 on top of it. And then if you return the bottle to the store, you get your $1 back.
Yeah, I remember those days.
So, remembering the days, how did you guys feel the first time you 3D printed?
Scared.
Scared.
Before,
did you feel empowered?
I printed a little bitty model, and I was amazed at how huge it was. And then look at what I've done since then. I go back and I look at my first model, thinking,
but did you guys feel like a kid for the first time seeing magic? So
I'll agree with that.
That's what Pet One is for me. Like when you have the ability to take something that you just drank out of and turn that into viable filament that can go into your magic machine, you just made magic filament to go into your magic machine. And for me, that is just like the most playful, humble concept that like is a universal. Like for me, again, that's why I keep it free. Like anybody who puts it behind a paywall doesn't get it, because at any given point, I was trying to say, like Mitch was talking about like steampunk. He was talking about a new variation of steampunk that I didn't hear about, and it's more like a futuristic, again, where like it's like Pet One falls right into that bracket where Mitch is going around with a backpack printer that is powered by battery, and he could be a nomad walking up the street going to the next city where he's got also a pet puller on his other one, and he's making his own filament, you know?
There it is.
I forgot about this. I think we should take care and give away a roll of Polymaker filament. It's one of the best filaments on the planet. Anywhere in the world that you live, Polymaker will send you one roll of filament with free shipping. It is
just
great
like the casino.
They got too many colors. They got too many kinds. And now they have out their new poly dryer, which is really cool. I got one coming in June, and they're back in stock. I got on Discord since I'm in
I requested one too.
Anyway, I got a code, so I got a code so I can pick one up when they're back available, and I'll do a video on it. I'll be very late to the party, but they look like really cool machines the way they're set up. But anyway, we're gonna give away one roll of filament right now. Anywhere they ship in the world, we got 29 entries. We'll draw for one person.
I'm gonna try for that one because I've never tried it.
I will put my email in chat once we draw a winner. Simply email me. You don't have to give me any information. Let me know who you are and that you won. Later on after the stream, I'll send you a link to Polymaker where you fill it out, and they will send you a code right away with hopefully within a couple days. We get one roll free with free shipping anywhere that they ship to in the world. If I draw your name and you don't win or you don't want it, I can redraw, or you can gift it to somebody. So here we go. Everybody count down with me from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Here we go. Who's it going to be?
Survey says.
Almighty Malachi, are you still in chat? Say something.
AM.
Must be present to win. Almighty Malachi, are you in chat? There
Yep.
he is, right there.
I don't see him. I don't see him. Congrats, Almighty
Malachi. Here's my email. Email me. You can, you're sitting at your computer. Email me right now, and I'll get back with you later with the link that you fill out. Congratulations. Let me write that down real quick before I forget.
There you go. I'm going to throw one since obviously we're all here because we like 3D printing. It's kind of on topic, and it's also in the recycling aspect at the same time. I recently had a little itch to want to build the Voron 0.1 or 0.2. I sadly disappointed
Small one.
myself after looking at the BOM, realizing that they want 15-15 extrusion, and my abundance is 20-20. And obviously 2040. So looking at all the different ones out there, and I know obviously Dreams Void, he's got a printer. I need to ask him about that again because I wanted to look at that. He mentioned it on one of the live streams that I was present for. I'm looking at options like that, something that's the small format, that can be enclosed. I've seen the ones that are done by Rolohan. Obviously, he has like, what do they call it? Like the Rook 2020, the Panda Mini, obviously all these different ones. And I'm thinking, okay, somebody out there is going to have a good idea or knows about one that is not necessarily always on printables. Yeah. So something at around the size of a Voron 0.1. So anywhere from 120 to 180 build, plate, so 180 by 180 build plate. And about that side that can be enclosed. Any suggestions?
No, I don't build that small.
They're good for parts making.
Yeah, I still think you should go bigger.
Well, I've got Frank. That's 320 by 320 by 380. But I'm thinking something that small, I can enclose. It has its own panels, top hat, and I can put parts on that to print. And that means that my Prusa, that's in obviously its own enclosure, I can now open that up and start enjoying that MMU.
I'm working with the Voron. That'll be next month's kit, but that's the 0.2, and so for me, that's what is it, 100 by 100 by 100? Is that the print on it?
Print-a-block, that was the name of it. Thank you. Thank you, Doug.
And so like if you're trying to get into that size, I still think like for me, I know like it's like 120, I think 120 by 120. It's a small footprint, but if you're trying to go and be like, on the road or anything like that, and then with your Luban subscription, you can go to your content for the size that you need.
Yeah, but that's the thing. This is not going to be for like that. I mean, I've got a limited space. When I built Frank, I literally got rid of 2 printers to make room for it. Yeah.
Wow.
So I've got enough room to fit a Voron 0.1 or 0.2 easily. Yeah, either next door to Frank or up here just above the Prusa. Yeah.
Well, again, what kind of parts are you printing? You're like, are they going to be minifigs or more parts for printers that you're going to make?
No, it's going to be functional. So PA12CF obviously is going to be on the block. Obviously, not any form of nylon, any form of carbon fiber, because I want it to have the one printer that's going to have the hardened nozzle. That way I can go ahead and put a Revo and enjoy that on the Prusa without having to have the high cost of an Obsidian. Yeah, because the Obsidian nozzles for the Revo are just insanely priced. Yeah. So I thought,
Doug,
well, if I get that back to MMU, let that be my multi-material.
Doug, I think was looking at the. Oh my God, I'm gonna Quiddy.
Yeah, Quiddy.
The kitty.
But see, I want to work with something I already have if I can.
Tomato.
See, we're back to the why build it? Why go through all that when you can just buy this printer for this? I've got a literal huge storage box with nothing but extrusion. Yeah, mostly 2020, so a lot of 2040 as well. I've got another storage box that's nothing but stepper motors, everything from a NEMA 17 34 right on up to a 50. Yeah.
Do you have the time and effort, or do you want to just start printing?
No, I have the time to build something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I looked at obviously, but it was like.
Who said the Rook? Someone said the Rook.
Yeah. Obviously I looked at the Rook 2020 Mark II, and I looked at the Panda Mini. Both are by Rolohan. He's on printables, and he designed these spin-offs from the original Rook. And the fact that I want to be able to use up some of that 2020 extrusion, and thanks to a local college that I just helped them get a donation from Hursty 3D, who got inundated by a brand, and I'm not going to mention the brand right now because that would be unprofessional, but basically they're going to stop trading in the UK. And so literally he said, I'll have a little bit of that of your stock. They literally have emptied their Amazon warehouses to his doorstep. Yeah. So I took 145 kilograms off him driving to West Yorkshire, brought it home, gave a bit to my best mate, took about 10
That's like
spools for myself, and the rest of it I gave to Bispham College.
the
And their
best foot in
students
door
have now,
situation.
yeah, they basically just now got a plethora of materials that they wouldn't have had available. So their learning experience for 3D printing and engineering just expanded. And it got me thinking, well, why can't I reuse some of this extrusion? I mean, I've got so much of it. It would seem an absolute shame to ultimately just take it down to the recycling center when I've got perfectly good extrusion. And I've had a number of people always say, well, why don't you just buy 1515? You can get it on AliExpress. I mean, I can find it on Amazon. I can buy the kit, just for the frame for about 60 pounds. Yeah, that's the cheapest I could find for a Voron 0.1. But I thought, well, again, if I have this, yeah, there's not a Voron 0.1 that was made for 2020, but there's these spin-offs, and I thought, with all these mines here,
Hey Dale,
maybe a few of you have tried it.
how about you take all your stuff and minify Frank?
Hey guys,
I
real
thought-
quick, I'm gonna check out. I'm watching on the iPad. I gotta go and get dinner figured out. So,
Munch.
Take care, Sergio. You have a great weekend. Thank you for stopping in, my
bye
friend.
guys.
Take care, dude.
Bye.
Peace.
Oh, going back on the recycling thing, you guys seen this printer? What prints a filament, then it rolls off onto the belt. It's basically a belt printer, and then it rolls off, and then it falls into a shredder, and then the shredder shreds it, and then makes it into filament again, and goes back into the printer. Have you seen that?
No, that sounds
No, I don't.
elaborate.
Yeah,
I saw
sounds
this,
very.
like a video not too long ago. I was looking for this video and wanted to show it off, but I can't find the video anymore because that was
So
brilliant.
it's like anything else. We've got the pelletizer. Michael Teaches Tech put one out remixed from somebody else's designs. Phenomenal. We remixed it for our Pet One needs. It's phenomenal. It then got further remixed by Bill, who represented us at the Rocky Mountain Rep Rap, and he turned it into literally a bamboo poop shredder or Pet One shredder that can be run by a standard drill, not even a pneumatic drill, just a standard hand drill. So that literally turns that into almost like
and
rice.
then he put the long chute on it so you wouldn't put your fingers in it.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And so it's turning that into like a rice particle, if you want to just picture what a rice chunk would look like. And that's just about where we need to be for kind of like a 3 millimeter area. That's then can get re-extruded, and there's a lot of back and forth whether this is proper, that's proper. Can you re-temper your diameter? Thanks Matt for bringing that up earlier. You're talking about pultrusion, and it brings it back to when it was made. I think pultrusion goes back to 1890 or something like that. And the golf clubs are made with pultrusion methods where it's actually like twining it, and it's making multiple fibers and twisting it and pulling that as a continuous.
That's basically in the fabric industry they use this type of machinery.
Similar, Stefan did that with like printing, just like that technique where you can print your own filament to have upwards to 2, 3, 4 shades of materials. He then took that and rather than printing with it, pultruded it from a 3 millimeter diameter down to 1.75 and put his logo inside of it. Like, in the sense of being able to do that, he then took TPU and he put the TPU inside of PLA, and the fact that it made like almost a Velcro with inside the print based off of how it printed was just mind-blowing for extra added structure, that you now have the hybrid material of PLA and TPU where you wouldn't have had that bond before. If you try to take TPU and print it on PLA or PETG on top of PLA, it's just gone. There's no
Just
layer
so
adhesion at
everybody
all.
knows, We've got 26 people watching on YouTube and 17 on Twitch. Total of 43 people watching.
Good.
Hello,
Good.
everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you.
My internet just dropped. It kicked me
Nice.
off, but it didn't completely kick me off. Everybody froze.
When?
My screen was button.
So in other words, your dropouts are getting less frequent and things are slowly getting better.
Yeah, they're kind of getting better.
Good to
I
hear.
got a hold of the company that made my modem on Amazon. I had a 2-year warranty. I'm only a year in. I contacted them. They were in India. They were on the phone with me for over an hour, checking this setting and that setting. And after about an hour, they said, well, call your local cable company and tell them to do a certain line on your system, and it will improve it. And it helped, but I'm still dropping. It's just not as often. So there's not really anything I can do about it.
So at Rocky Mountain, Bill was showing off.
Oh, hello.
I'm echoey.
Oh, that's cute. Is that the DVD? Is that one of the DVD printers?
So this
Oh,
is
no, it
for
isn't.
me. This is what I call my OG extruder. This is kind of like what got me into pultrusion. I was initially intrigued by someone else's design. They took an $800 pellet extruder and they were putting strips through it. And I said, well, that can't be too hard to replicate. And the second I did it, I ruined my first iteration of this. So this should take everything that I just ground down as far as the particulates for a 3mm. This is off the shelf parts. I've not warmed it up and tested it yet. I feel like I might need a little more heat above, but we're testing the generic parts. And so
just as a question on that, Josh, have you thought are you gonna, I was just gonna ask, are you gonna end up putting a copper block on that in a PT100 or PT1000?
I'm not sure. Right now I have the ideas and I've got sort of things implemented, and again, going full circle where we've started to shred stuff to where we can actually have it be the proper size, as well as moving into the ArtMe, not trying to take shade away from the ArtMe because that's got its own ability for production flow, but to be able to do off the shelf parts now where we can not look at an $800 apparatus, but something that's $200, really opens up the ability to now have newcomers come in. Again, $60 grinder, grinding poop. Everybody loves to rep wrap, and so we're all tinkerers, and now you just got to say, okay, I'm not tinkering with a 3D printer. I'm tinkering with what goes into a 3D printer. And for me, I don't 3D print much. If I'm 3D printing, it's a recreator part. And I here and there print something fun, but it's usually something that I'm play testing myself to see, is this going to work for the 95% of the community that have drills, and again, trying to keep it into, if 95% of your community says they've got drills, sweet. Like, I'm sorry, 5%, but maybe you'll get a drill at some point.
Can you use a dental drill?
Yeah, that's a little.
I would think.
I wouldn't want to use it. And who's?
I'm just joking.
Well, sure, but now you can talk about precision. I wouldn't touch a dental drill. I have bad hands. I'm good with that big drill. That's like
that's the worst sound in the world.
Everything.
People having feelings in the drill, and oh god, I hate that sound.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather pull my toenails out with a pair of pliers.
No, see, that sound is okay. It's when it goes.
Yeah.
So, like anything else behind me, I still have a 2 horsepower driven do-it-yourself Chen shredder that cost me $500. That was $250 just in shipping from China. And again, it was a out-of-box do-it-yourself. So that took me and my father another, I'd say, 3 months of kind of troubleshooting and getting it to work. Do we do chains versus belt driven? We went with belts so that there wasn't any risk of harming ourselves with the chains. it's constantly moving, so I have to constantly put pressure on it and re-torque it so that it's able to eat properly. I can only feed so much into it. And for me, like, that's the process that I start with. I now have in my garage taking up a lot of space, 400 pounds of bamboo poop just from a 3-week span of someone else's farm. That's enough for me to choke on for the year with my current setup. And so I would love to get a $3,000, it's not even $3,000, $2,000 industrial shredder, which is
a 55-gallon trash can, a standard 55-gallon trash can. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
With the lid on the top, it looks like a UFO.
Yep.
Yeah.
That however many pounds you said, what do you say, 55 pounds?
Mm-hmm.
If you was to dump it in that trash can, how many trash cans are we talking about? That way I can imagine how much weight, how much volume.
So I went and picked up one of those containers in a week.
Okay. All right. That's a big trash can.
And that's about, like, I'd say 120 pounds.
Okay.
And so I've now said, like, okay, I'll come weekly. I'm now doing bi-weekly. Just my, not to say that my gas is like a waste going down there every other day, but I'd rather go load up and then come back. And I'm now to the point where, community members are like, sort it by color. I'm like, I'm not sorting it by color. I'm just dumping it.
I had a video one time where I dumped my bamboo poop in the bag with other. And then when I done the video, it's like, you know what? I should have kept that separate. That way I can show people how much filament I actually wasted on that particular video. And I dumped it out on the floor, and I tried to separate it. I'm like, you know what? There's no way I can separate this. Yeah. It's like, there's no way to separate it.
This is about, like, I don't know.
10 kilos?
I'll be nice and say like 30 to 40 pounds. I'm.
You got a hole in the bottom. Be careful. On the front, it looks like there's a hole right there. Oh no!
You have to clean it up, not me.
Hey, pick it up again. You're on a big camera. Somebody can screenshot it. Somebody screenshot this to share it. It's going to bust open.
Yeah. Got it.
So.
Okay, that'll be the thumbnail for this video.
It's probably stinky now.
Because on YouTube, I always go through my videos and I pick a scene where something's going on, and I use that for the thumbnail for the video.
There you go.
So I've done. Oh, let's see. This is 4.5, and this is like the particulates that I wanted at. So that's like nice and good. But then, like, I've got some bags that are just like more chunky, more in like the.
So how many kilos?
There's a few.
How many kilos?
So, well, that's what it is, man. It's a bunch of weight, So I got the yellow batch that some people wanted. So there's some blues and yellows in here, oranges and blacks.
You have to separate them.
One by one. This will end up being more of like a bluey, probably purple, red.
And Josh,
this is like some vintage, like 80s purple color going on, like.
Gosh, you don't work in a dispensary, do you?
What's that?
You don't work in a dispensary, do you?
I probably should.
Well, to be fair, there's a few companies. Prusa is also in there. Yeah, even Prusa, obviously, when they recycle filament, they don't necessarily always.
Yes, Kenny, I smoke a lot. Like, if you're asking why someone would waste all their time doing all this stuff, like, I got no idea what I'm doing half the time. But right now it's playing with like plastic.
I see Sergio says he's got Wendy's on the way. I've never Ubered food like that from there. I used to just
so yeah, going through someone else's trash, you learn a lot.
That's what the FBI said.
So I don't have a bamboo printer personally. So I again had to think about like what I'm how my filament's being used, or how I'm able to shred it rather. So funny enough, like I've seen some chonky purges where I'm like, damn, that's a thick chonky
Yeah.
purge.
Yeah,
And
purge
then
towers.
there's a what other MMU printer just came out that's similar to bamboo with the poops? Did we see that recently?
Yeah, I think it's
So like those are thicker poops, and so it's interesting to see again like how someone might be purging. And I really wanted to work with the company that I'm getting all this waste from about all the great stuff that Bamboo started putting out. As I'm literally posting stuff like this on Twitter, Bamboo's following me, and it's like, are you watching? Are you paying attention? Because that would be super awesome, because they implemented purge stuff like days after I posted stuff, where it was like, oh, you're worried about your purge poop? Well, now we've optimized 40%.
I've got a question before I forget. Do3D, do3d.com was they gave away a Star Wars helmet the other day for free. You didn't have to buy it, and every day where
yeah, it's cool.
May the 4th be with you. They were giving away different helmets. And my question was, in Bamboo Slicer, when I put supports on a helmet, how can I edit them? For instance, when I support a helmet, you don't need internal supports for the dome. How can I go in Bamboo Slicer? I don't know about Orca. I've never used it, but I have it. And get rid of all those internal supports I added to the whole model, and I can edit out. Can I circle them in Bamboo? Is there somewhere where I can edit out the supports I added? Because if I paint on all the supports, then you got to get zooming in really close, use a really big pen, and be very careful with your mouse and not get zigzaggedy, draw straight lines. So I'd rather automatically auto-generate supports and then delete the ones I don't need.
I would think if you're going to auto-generate, that would be fine-tuning your overhang.
Can I say, does anybody else use Simplify 3D anymore? Because I don't, nope. And that used to be a feature in Simplify 3D.
Yeah, I paid for it years ago. I had it for a long time. They came out with a new version.
So, Jerry, you literally brought up the one thing that I probably miss, that I don't no longer have, that actually came from Simplify 3D. You were able to put in a single stack wherever you wanted, and you could draw stacks.
Well, to be fair, you can do that with a plugin on Cura.
The
Sure, Bill, yeah.
We were talking about really tiny printers a bit ago, and here's somebody that has a really, really tiny resin printer. It's so tiny, it's cute and worthless, basically. It's so little. You can do a ring on it. It's really, really tiny. Matt done an unboxing of it the other day. If you'd like to pop in for a minute, Matt, here's a link. You want to come in and say hey?
That's some great marketing. That's probably some of the smartest marketing I've seen come from a company in a while, just to pull a little freight truck out of their box, and it looks like it's just ready to go off the shelf. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, it's all perfect packaging material too that should be there. It's just very kid drawn, very I don't want to say I would like to see resin being introduced to children, but this is a very way of marketing it towards children. I believe the unit is, smaller, but more, I think, fail safe.
I think still a safe hazard.
Oh yeah. I just resin. Just I don't know. I wouldn't want to give anyone under 16 resin to play with.
Simplified 3D was my go-to until Bamboo Slicer came around, and then Simplified 3D became a waste of time.
So you can go Cheeto Box, and then you can create your supports and even do custom supports on it, and then save it, the file, and then it saves it with the supports, and then you just take that file and put it back into Bamboo Slicer, and then you have custom supports. You can do that.
I just
You know what your
realized it's getting time. It's getting close to the time of magic hour because after last night's lovely
Pumpkin.
lights in the sky, I'm going for round 2 if I can. So
It's witchcraft, I say. It's
Cool.
witchcraft.
Enjoy,
Take care,
Dale.
Dale. You have an awesome
Good
day.
seeing
Thank
you.
for joining in.
hey, you too, man. Thank you for having
Take
me
care,
again.
man.
You're always welcome. Yeah, I've done a lot of resin printing, as everybody probably knows. I don't really, the odor doesn't bother me. Some resins are worse than others. A long time ago, most resins had bad odors. They've done a lot to mitigate it. It's not as bad as it was. But one thing I will say, no matter, Sunlu resin is currently one of my favorite resins I'd like to buy on Amazon.
I was
when
buying
I'm resin
Sunlu.
printing, if I'm anywhere in my house, I can't really say I can smell it, but I know I'm resin printing. So obviously I must smell it. But yeah, Anycubic used to have a really bad odor, but I don't know about
Yeah,
what
it can
batch
better.
and
It
what
can
time,
better.
but
I got this
anyway.
whole box is full with red, just liquid.
Jerry, so is there like more of a natural plant-based resin that isn't necessarily unsafe, but
I
if
don't
a
know.
kid drank it, they wouldn't die. They just go poop.
Akuma Mods has like hundreds of bottles of resin of different types. Matt might have a better idea if there's a plant-based or maybe a water washable, which I don't like water washable resins. They're garbage.
No.
Why are they garbage?
I think
because your prints tend to break quite a bit. They crack and they break, and I have had issues with it. I don't like
So
messing with it.
it's more like makes them more just a brittle. So
Yeah,
whatever makes the magic in resin is stripped because ultimately you're just getting something that can break down easier.
Yeah, I don't like water washable. I like messing with it.
me not either.
The only thing I don't like about resin printing is the cleaning, the IPA smell. I can't. It gives
That's
me
the
headaches.
thing is you're talking about a whole suite of production that you need. So if you're at home, you're like a room's got to be dedicated to it. When I first started doing it, I was in the garage. Then I needed to move in because it was winter time. So I had to pipe all that out to my outside during the winter. Made my basement cold.
If a person is messy and clumsy, don't get into resin printing. You need to
I'm very messy, and so
wear gloves.
This is probably the cleanest my space has been.
If you're in a hurry or you have the jitters or anything, don't resin print. You don't want to drop anything, or you don't want to splice yourself with any chemicals.
Yeah, like I don't know about the three of you, but like ADHD, if you have the ability to like literally get distracted every 15 minutes, do not get into resin printing.
Yeah, one of the safety things to use safety classes. Otherwise, you're going to have a mad
I've
time.
gotten stupid where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go clean up, and then forget to put on. Like one of the things with grinding that I didn't mention before is that grinder I can hear like down the block, and so behind me I've got my precision hearing apparatus so that I can't hear anything. Streaming is I have to have a mute button while I stream it. Gloves,
gotta wear these things too, resin.
Here's something I did.
Cavity search.
How much are you gonna pay me?
I don't know.
Oh, there's a price, Jerry.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to buy a new printer.
I'm trying to buy a new printer. That's my answer. What do I gotta do? Just let me know.
A long time ago, I was grinding some steel in a grinder in my vise, and like a dummy, of course, you got to wear glasses and protective clothing because hot sparks, metal, it hurts. You put out your eye. What I didn't realize
put your eye out.
My Jeep was sitting 3 foot behind me where I was grinding, so the sparks are flying at my side window on my Jeep. You know what hot sparks do to glass? They pit it and they ruin your glass. So you got to be very careful, about your environment when you're doing anything.
Oh, and when you resin print, have plenty of rags.
Yeah, blue shop towels, never white paper towels. White paper towels can scratch your fence when you clean it up. Always just the blue shop towels. Spray away glass cleaner to clean up resins.
I would have to do I would polish mine down afterwards. We were doing like resin casting after we did just like the master out of the resin printer, and so I was sanding it down And like anything else, I'm like, okay, need the respirator if we're going to be doing this, because that's fine microparticles that we don't need in the air or our lungs. And yeah, what you got there?
There's 2 other products that Jerry turned me on
Oh, sure.
to.
Is that like for cleaning at the end?
Yeah, Mean Green Ice to keep in my ultrasonic cleaner, and then I don't use it much anymore. And then I use glass cleaner sprayway. It's perfect for cleaning up resin spills, messes, wiping out your vat. Of course, once I use that, I'll dump a little bit of IPA in the vat to give it a final coat. But yeah, sprayway glass cleaner works great.
You know what that smell reminds me of? And this is crazy. It reminds me of my barber shop. That smell.
Sure, I feel you. That's that. Yeah, it's the spray. They're probably using that to clean their stuff.
Whoa! There goes my pants.
Oh.
Or whatever.
Hey, we didn't even have to pay for that one.
I don't want to scratch up my eyes.
So with resin is like, I got to worry about like PTFE tubes going to 260 for like pet, expulsion of all that stuff. Is resin printing on the same level? If I've got a bird next to me, I shouldn't be resin printing?
No, you shouldn't be. No, it's too toxic for the bird. No.
And Josh, when you're done with your resin, just dump it outside on the ground for planet Earth.
No, man,
no, you don't do that either.
I did that once and was like, what did I just do?
The proper way to get rid of any resin is leave it on the tray outside.
I'm screwing with him.
Let it completely cure.
Sure, but again, as a novice, Kenny, I did that, and so this is where people don't think, like, what am I doing with this material afterwards?
It's like somebody a long time ago that was talking to the whole country at the time was telling them to drink bleach. Just don't take people literally when they say things.
Well, so that's where we get into semantics and words mean different things to people,
Hey, I got one. Okay, Janice, my wife.
English here, or do we speak Chinese?
No, we're Chinese.
Okay, Janice, my wife. Okay, when she was still working, or her last job was demo at Costco. She had at that time, that day, that sample, she had detergent. Okay. And all she had was a sample so you could smell it, okay? That's all, smell it. An Oriental guy, Japanese guy, walked up to her and downed it. And she had to go report that to her supervisor, why he was all of a sudden like, he's doing this shit, So, yep, detergent.
I know people that have read stuff that come back and tell me certain things, and I'm like, ugh. And for a while,
remember when kids were abusing Tide, the little Tide things? Yeah, that was crazy, man.
Survival of the fittest. I'm sorry.
Everybody remember, Zombie Hedgehog will be streaming in 2 hours. It's his birthday stream. He's going to have tons of giveaways. Please check out Zombie Hedgehog on YouTube and Twitch.
You got a link for that, Jerry?
I posted them earlier.
Is Matt barred from that?
It should be still in
private
chat, private chat.
Yeah, I got it. I got it. Thank you.
Is Matt barred from that? From the giveaways?
I told you he's sending me. I told him he's sending me all the stuff directly to me. So don't worry about showing up there. I win it all.
I've been streaming for a little over 3 hours. I think I'm going to call it good for the day. On Twitch, if you're watching, thank you everybody for watching. I'm going to raid into MakerDeck, and I'm hitting my raid channels, and I'm looking at it. They changed it. Instead of it being a little tiny box, it's a full screen thing. So let me click on MakerDeck, and we'll raid out to MakerDeck. Let's see if that's going to work.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Great talk as always. And see you in like 2 days.
Okay, it's getting ready. Hold on, I haven't ended it on YouTube yet.
2 days. What's the 2 days?
Because it's going to be Saturday before we know it.
Yeah, true.
Everybody watching on YouTube, everybody on screen, thank you for being here. Thank you, Josh, Matt.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Peace.
Take care, everybody.